like a flood. like the sun that shines on high, now awaken into freedom. Oh, revive your spirits, oh, revive. Wake the mountains and the valleys, bring alive the springs of the earth. Light the world forever with the light of your rebirth. Light the world forever with the light of your rebirth. We are called to bring back the glory to the life of God above. Now the Lord in His greatness fills the universe with tender love. Ever seeking souls awaken, ever calling them to be free. How shall I attend Him who is calling to me? How shall I attend Him who is calling to me? From the dark of death I awaken and rejoice to live in grace. When the one who came to save me holds me tenderly in His embrace, I rejoice to feel the comfort of the love He has for me. What a blessing of glory to rejoice eternally. What a blessing of glory to rejoice eternally. Now He lifts me up to embrace me in the blessing that is mine. What a blessing to receive Him in a love so tender and divine. How can I return the blessing, though in all my life I will try? I can never stop feeling how unworthy am I. I can never stop feeling how unworthy am I.
Amen, amen, amen. Aju. Thank you, SOS. Please be seated, everybody. And we are in the month of September now. Wow. September has come, folks. It is here. And we are on the 3rd of September, 2017. Oh, pointer, please. Welcome, everybody here who is here for the first time or joining us online. Welcome to Sanctuary today. Also, Freedom Society seminars. In the last meeting, we watched and discussed a documentary on the situation in Venezuela. It was shocking to see how the people of that country plead for freedom, even as they struggle to secure even the basic necessities of life. The next seminar will be held Thursday, September 14th. Join us for another engaging session led by Cook Jinem, Carm's Factory, Lords Valley, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Okay, come on, point down, there we go. Teen Night, every first and third Saturday of the month. We're here at Sanctuary at 6 p.m. For more info, contact Jamal Johnson. Also, fireside testimonies at Bluestone Farms, Friday evenings at 7 p.m. Come hear testimonies about the King of Kings. This is a reminder of our special gathering at Bluestone Farms. Please arrive at 7 p.m. if you wish to bring your own beverage and chair, but no food. That is September 8th is the next one with Cook Jinem, September 8th. Hey! That's right after the, September 7th ceremonies. So if you can, and I think the whole Japanese group, Korean group will be coming too. Is that correct? Okay. DP Education Witnessing, interested in Divine Principle Education or Witnessing, let's meet and brainstorm together next Sunday, 2 p.m. in the small sanctuary. The meeting will be led by Kerry Williams, Sanctuary USA Education Director. Okay, so that is next Sunday, 2 p.m. Entertainment practice. There will be a practice today for all performers participating in the September 7th entertainment. That is today. Okay, training is today. Let's meet in the main sanctuary to practice 30 minutes after service has ended. Also, some more testimonies from summer HSU, Holy Spirit University classes. Let's read the book of Matthew, led by Kanako Muramatsu-san. When I first heard about the divine principle, I knew nothing about Jesus. However, through HSU class of Sanctuary Church, I had a chance to read and meditate on the book of Matthew. Slowly, I realized that Jesus is the only begotten Son of God. Moreover, it became clear to me that true Father is the second coming of Jesus with a physical body. I realized that although I sat in front of Father and listened to his words spoken in Korean, I was not fully understanding the message that he was delivering with all his heart. True Father won the victory of the lonely indemnity course and opened the door to the revolutionary era after the coming of heaven. Through this class, I became able to feel the Holy Spirit of Jesus and True Father coming from the grace of True Father's victory. Hey! Praise God. How to Hear from God, led by Suwon Haj Amar. It was a privilege participating with our class leader, Suwon, in reviewing Joyce Meyer's How to Hear from God. I am, like Joyce, a reformed, I hope, works-based, obligation-bound believer who has been blessed through the calm, introspective counsel of young Suwon. God spoke to me through him, that is, for the class How to Hear from God. Also preparing this piece, led by Arthur Norn. Arthur has the heart of a lion, and there's no one I would rather share a foxhole with. Is Arthur here today? Okay, maybe he's not here today. The True Jesus, led by Alan Feldstadt. Alan Feldstadt did an amazing job leading the class and taking us through The True Jesus by David Limbaugh. Very refreshing to get intelligent, contextualized, and faithful exegesis of the life of Christ. There you go. The Way of the Master, led by Ted O'Grady. The Way of the Master was tough going, but because it demanded of us an accounting of our own sinfulness in front of a holy God. I'm humbled by his sincerity and love expressed by our brothers and sisters who fought the good fight with me in this class. There you go. And Ted was here. I saw him today.
Those testimonies are all from Ted O'Grady.
Okay. Oh, okay. Those are from Ted?
All four of those.
Oh, those are from Ted. Okay, nice. Very nice. Now let's go to video testimony by Hoshino-san. Go ahead.
皆さんこんにちは。聖霊大学の星野と申します。アメリカから聖霊大学日本語クラス担当させていただいております。今日は聖霊大学の意義とか価値とか、あるいはベネフィットということについて皆さんとシェアをさせていただきたいと思います。最近、夜中にですね、妻から起こされるんですよ。あなた起きて、なんだ、実は夢を見たんだってわけですよね。大変だってわけですよ。どうしたんだ。洪水が押し寄せて全部が流されちゃうんだというわけですよ。全てが流されていく、大変だということですね。本当かということで、もう深刻になりまして、笑いごっちゃないと、そういう深刻なそれで祈りをして、またその夫婦の会話がありました。そうだよねと、この最近のヒョンジ様の御言葉も本当に深刻だよねと、前から不深刻だったけれども、さらに今は深刻さを増していますよねと、黙示録の12章のところを引用されながらですね、そこに出てくる女性は感染性を表しているんだとかですね、本当に、母マザーの失敗ということを桃源吹きするような、あるいはまたマザーとしてのそういう役割を果たす、お父様と完全相対になっている、そういう感染性のために本当に祈らなきゃいけないとかですね、もう深刻真剣、何が起こるかわからない、7年間難の中間地点からますますその状況は深刻になっていくということで、我々もですね、何らかの準備を即しなきゃいけない。即食料、あるいは銃、あるいは私たちは即また行動に移さないといけないということで、キングスレポートに出る、あるいは日本語のトランスレートをする、あるいは何らかのYouTube で発信をするということで、即行動に起こしてまいりました。 そういうことで、聖霊大学はそのような深刻な神様の事情、摂理の事情、お父様イエス様、ヒョンジン様のアイザク世代の三大王権のこの深刻な緊急のこの状況を伝わる、そのような時間になるかということを思いますし、またあらゆる問題を解決する道はキリストにしかないんだと、そこに全ての解決の道があるんだと。キリストこそ 100% 神様だけども 100% 人間でもあると、そういうメシア間の確立、そしてこの私たちが今即何をしなければいけないのか、即行動して天一国憲法を渡す人、そういう人に出会うとかですね、本当に深刻なその状況をですね、感じていただくためにもぜひ聖霊大学に参加していただきたいと思いますし、聖霊大学は皆さんが主人公でございます。そして聖霊大学は、王の王であるキリストにつながります。そして皆さんは王様ですから、王の王のキリストにつながる、そのような時間を聖霊大学で、共に実感をしてまいりましょう。今日は本当にありがとうございました。皆さん、聖霊大学でお待ちしております。
Thank you, Mr. Ocean. He had his own background music. He turned on. Did you see that? Nice job. Very nice job, Hoshino-san. Very nice job. Very nice job. Registration for fall HSU classes begins next week. Also, Sanctuary Church Kingdom Gospel Bible Study, that is on Wednesday, 7 p.m., ongoing. Coordinators Bill Brunhofer and Lowell Ellenson. This week we will continue studying Paul's second letter to the church in Corinth. Paul says we are the fragrance of Christ among those who are being saved and among those who are perishing. For if anyone is in Christ, he's a new creation. Is Bill here today? Where's Bill? Oh, he's in Seattle? Okay. I heard that his boy was on ESPN playing football. Is that right? ESPN 3? He was on the other day? What? He got injured?
No, he's number 33.
Okay, number 33. Okay. All right. Okay, he was on ESPN yesterday playing linebacker, beating up some other boys. So that's nice. 5th anniversary of the cosmic ascension of true parent Sun Myung Moon, 3rd foundation day. Where is that? That's Sanctuary Church, Newfoundland, PA. When? 7 a.m. through 3 p.m. on Thursday, September 7th. 7 a.m. 5th anniversary of Cosmic Ascension, 3rd Foundation Day. Offering table, Representative Kyungbae, Hundok of True Father's Words, 8:30 breakfast. 10 a.m. Cosmic Blessing of 4300 Couples 3rd Stage. 11:30 lunch. 1 p.m. entertainment. 2 p.m. closing. Okay. And let's see, there we go. And also the first Chunilgo King Cup shooting and fishing tournament will be held. When is the date here? Hold on. When is the date? Where does it say that? Aha, there it is. There it is. There it is. Shooting tournament. Date, Friday, September 8th, 1:30 to 4 p.m. Car Arms Property is the place. $30 per person, includes equipment and ammo, and the prize is $500. Okay. Also, there's a fishing tournament that is September 9th, Saturday, 4 through 8 p.m. Belmar, New Jersey, $70 fee, include equipment and dinner. And the prize is $500. Okay, $500 before the dollar, collapses. Okay, so we're not just handing out paper. Contact Andy at his email here. I'm sorry, Rod, I'm almost hitting you with that lightsaber there. Next slide. Let's see if this will listen. Events management meeting at 3 p.m. in the small sanctuary. 3rd Foundation Day anniversary, cosmic anniversary of True Father Sun Myung Moon's ascension, and cosmic blessing for returning to True Father's authority. Our team will gather at 3 p.m. to go over all the preparations for this coming Thursday holy days. Please be on time so we can manage the meeting effectively. If you are coming from outside the area and wish to volunteer, please contact Lourdes at this website right here. Volunteers are needed. Representative Kyungbae volunteers, offering table, beautification team, stage preparation, and food ministry. Okay, that's a meeting at 3 p.m. Also, Ocean Challenge Georgetown, Maine has been pushed back due to some unforeseen circumstances. New dates are October 2nd through 7th. Okay, October 2nd through 7th. So that's pushed back, what is that, like a week back? Is that right? 1 week back, okay. October 2nd through 7th. Register by September 17th. Registration is $200 for the week for couples and families. Campers will be responsible for their own food, transportation, camping gear. Also, video clip competition, 3 to 10 minute clips of the Second King. And do we have a winner for this week? We do? Is this it? Okay, let's see what he did. It's about doing these things together, standing together as community, standing together in relationship, standing together with God. The state of affairs that we are living in, folks. They are trying to unseat a duly elected president of the United States of America and to bring in complete authoritarianism, complete collectivism, complete communism, complete political Satanism, strip away sovereignty, and implode America as Europe is being imploded. We must be awake to this. We must be praying for the president. We must be praying for the providence God to overtake the White House, to be present in our lives. At the same time, we can't just be only living in that reality. We also have to be taking care of our children, strengthening our relationships, strengthening our bonds, going out in nature, teaching them values, teaching them principles. We should be preparing. We should be eating healthy. We should be focused. We should be at top shape and top mental clarity. All of that matters. And it's not just a matter of doing one thing and leaving everything else to Satan or to chance. It's about doing these things together, standing together as community, standing together in relationship, standing together with God in sovereignty, with like-minded kindred spirits like Richard Gage and other patriots who are risking their lives to fight for freedom. They are our brothers and sisters, and we stand together, opposed to the New World Order, opposed to Satan's political Satanism, opposed to collectivism and communism, which is proven to make people more poor and create a super elite class that rules over them as gods. We believe in the God Yahweh and Yeshua HaMashiach. The Lord said, I will return and has bring the constitution to the three kingships of God and the kingdom of God that is coming to this world. We are preparing for that. We are standing on our sovereignty with God, from which we receive our sovereignty, and the kingdoms of Satan will be defeated and destroyed. All right, there's Ted Igarashi's entry. Now, is there a drawing like every week or something? What's the situation here? Okay, so there will be a winner every week, and the winner gets to sign the Constitution. Okay, so if you think you can beat Ted, bring in your entry. Okay, where's the point? I have the pointer. Okay, here it is. All right, thank you, Ted. Oh, wait, I want to show him. There it is. That's the Constitution. We will send Ted. Let's show. Open that up, huh? There it is, Ted. That is coming to you very soon. All right, let's go to the next slide now. Pre-order the Queen of Cheongguk Word and Brush series, signed limited edition prints from the online store and Sanctuary store. Sample prints at Sanctuary lobby store. Also see Greg Knoll for more details. Okay, video about brushes. Go ahead. Play the video. Oh, bamboo flute.
okay, so let me draw part of about these words, or let me draw part of a Bible quote. Then I can really contemplate it while I'm drawing. I can really internalize it. I love art, and so. But I don't want to make the picture to be dominant, but the scripture to be the one that really dictates the whole drawing. That's what I really want.
Oh, all right. That's nice. I never saw that before. That's pretty cute. So they have a scriptures. Each one of them has scriptures, by the way, all from the scripture, the Word of God. So they're good reflective pieces as well. Okay, let's go next slide. Do 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 do. The bamboo flute. I like that. The King's Report, also Monday through Saturday, 5 to 8 a.m. Join us on King for inspiration and understanding of current issues, broadcast live on the Newfoundland Sanctuary Church YouTube channel. Also join us for the Fellowship Potluck Lunch. All are welcome. Let's give it up for everybody who brought a potluck lunch. Thank you for your wonderful potluck lunches. Please do not take food into the small chapel or library. Bring a dessert. If you bring a dessert, make it a healthy one. If you couldn't bring food, a $5 to $10 donation to cover the purchase of additional food will be appreciated. And the food ministry deserves an applause. Everybody, come on, give it up for them. Thank you, Food Ministry team. They are joining us via TV in the kitchen. Okay. Daughters of Christ Bakery Bake Sale support the Sanctuary Homeschool students. Raise money for a special trip to Thailand, Cambodia coming soon, and will be held during potluck lunch. So get your snacks on and your what is it? Your bakery baking baked delights. Okay. Sunday school time. Reminder to all parents: keep an eye on your children. Thank you, Sunday school teachers. Thank you, Sunday school teachers. All right, kids, enjoy Sunday school. And now let us get into the Word. Okay, folks, we are in a serious time, and we need to have serious discussions. Okay. This is we're now rolling up on September 23rd, and we know that the Revelation 12 woman has been identified. I mean, you really can't make it up, okay? 9 months in the womb, 9 months, protecting the kingship. Woman with the sun and the moon, 12-star crown. You can't make it up. The Virgo constellation, being the only the woman constellation in all the astrological signs. Right, I think I have a picture here. Let me go to that picture. Hold on. I think I have a picture here. Yes, I do have it. Yeah. See? And that's all lining up. It's interesting that the third generation of True Father's lineage that did not betray him equals 12. I have 5 children. Kuk Jung has 7 children that are on this earth, and so that all, again, leads to 12. And by Mrs. Kang being the woman who is protecting the kingship, she's also protecting her father's third generation and future generations as well, by being what the title Father gave her, the mother of the Unification Church, the mother of the faith. So we are in that period where that sign is now happening in heaven. In the skies, that will be happening 9/23. So that's a very historic day. We have a very important ceremony on that date, okay? And we're going to all gather here together as well with our international delegation, etc. But it's amazing because Mrs. Kang's birthday also in Korean lunar date is 8/20. What is it, 8/22, is that right, Tim? 8/20? 8/20th. So 20th of August. So when you go back to 1927 and you look at that, it does not come down to October 1st, which was on our passport. And that's the date I had up there 2 weeks ago. That was our passport date. We later found out after that sermon that the actual date of her birthday in the solar calendar, which is the tropical astrological calendar, okay? That's the Roman calendar, by the way, okay, that they use. It's just called formally the tropical astrological calendar. And her birthday is 9/15, not October 1st. October 1st is her passport. That's the one she legally put down on her passport, whenever she did it. But her actual birthday is 9/15, which makes her fall exactly in the Virgo. She is a Virgo. She is the Virgo. And I asked Father for a sign, as we were praying this for maybe 3-4 months now. And doing special conditions of prayer for this, for Mrs. Kang. But I asked Father for a clear sign, and Father said, ask her birthday. And then her birthday happened to fall exactly down as the Virgo. Now, she could have been Aquarius, Sagittarius, Libra, blah, 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 whatever. What is the other? What are they? It was Cancer, whatever. But, boom, she hit right there. Right there. And how could we have known? We didn't even know about Revelation 12 and the signs and wonders and all that. Well, we knew the sign and wonder coming. But we didn't know all the details 9 months earlier when she came. She came exactly like 9 months ago at the palace. You understand? And she is protecting, she's doing what the Han Mother should have done, which is protect the kingship of God. Okay? Also, her name means woman who uplifts the lamb. That's what Kang means, okay? It's a Chinese character for lamb on top and a woman's on the bottom. So it actually means the woman who is uplifting the lamb. Okay? And, of course, everybody knows I am in the year of the lamb. And obviously everybody knows that it is through Father, myself, and Shinjun that the successorship continues on. Okay? So all those kind of things coming together, you can't make it up. You can't set up the timing. You can't do all this. It's just the hand of God just working all together into all this chaos, putting it together, and then now we stand on the precipice of looking down 9/23. Okay, September 23rd. We're now on the precipice of that cosmic event. Remember, this cosmic event has not happened. Some people say 7,000 years. Some people say never. This pattern has never existed in human history. Okay, but whether or not it's 7,000 or more, the point is 2,000 years ago on the Isle of Patmos, 2,000 years ago, under the Roman Empire, John the Revelator was seeing this. Remember this? He was seeing this. Remember that? He saw all of it. He saw the woman in the sky. He saw her with birth pangs. He saw her with the sun and the moon at her feet. He saw her with the 12-crown star. He saw her with the flying on the wings of the eagle to go and where? To the wilderness for a place prepared to her by God. Amen. He saw a place. He saw. This is John. Okay, Revelator way back then. He saw a place where the child that would be born. What did it say? Carries a rod of iron. And you all saw the rod of iron, right? When John the Revelator said, he didn't say a spear. He didn't say some kind of curvy blade. He said it's a rod, and he's carrying a rod of iron. That's how they'll rule over the kingdoms of the earth. And the inheritors with the King of Kings bloodline and kingship will also rule with rods of iron. So when John saw that, of course he doesn't know what it is. He just saw some people holding these rods. It was great power. Obviously, we know what that is now. We know what that is. We know what it is. It is the kingship and the kingdom of God where the citizens become the kings and stand up against unrighteousness, and they have the rod of iron that shoots fire from its mouth. So predators will be submitted. So all this is happening September 23rd. That's coming. And we move now today to Revelation 13. And let's go through it, the whole thing, and then let's get into some of the stuff. And let's get into some very uncomfortable discussions today, because we have to do it. Okay? We've been procrastinating, and we have to get into it. All right, so let's go to Revelation 13. All right? Let's start in verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the names of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Continued. Verse 10, He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exercised all power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he make fire come down from the heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he hath power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save that he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Okay, that's where the number 666 comes from. And this is the chapter in Revelation 13 that is talking about, remember that we're talking about all that buying and selling stuff, right? The mark of the beast. Right here, and that no man might buy or sell, save that he has a mark. Okay? Now, we are in a serious time. This is the top headlines for today. Okay? And this is right now, North Korea has just popped a hydrogen bomb in Korea successfully. In the north, that is an atomic, that's what is it, 10 times stronger than the atomic bomb? Yes. 10 times more powerful than the atomic bomb. 10 times more powerful than their last attempt, okay? 5 times more powerful than the atomic bomb, all right? The ICBM, of course, last week they shot over the nation of Japan. And we had our guest on Thursday, or one of the days, what was one of Thursday, Friday? We had one of the brothers and sisters from Sanctuary reporting to us from Hokkaido, all right, about the scenario, the drills that they had to go through, all those kind of insane things that was happening on the ground. Now, remember, for Japanese people, they've been thinking, nothing's going to happen, for 60 plus years. And you got the brain dead young people who have no idea what's going on. They're so drugged out and public school educated, indoctrinated. They just think the most serious thing in the world right now is Katy Perry's hairdo or some stupid thing like that. They don't know what the heck is going on. Okay? But the fact of the matter is what they had. They had a mid-range ICBM that is a missile capable of carrying a nuclear warhead that flew over Japan, not only in the islands and the oceans in front of it, that he shot it over them. You understand? He shot it over them. What does that mean? I can blow you up. That's what he said, right? And of course, that is a mid-range ICBM which carries, when it's weaponized, a ballistic nuclear missile. Okay? And of course, right now, that was last week. And then, of course, we see more escalation. This is now the 6th nuclear test that North Korea has been doing. And now they have succeeded in nuclear technology. Okay? And we heard all the time from all the analysts, oh, they're behind what we thought, they're not, they don't got it, they don't have it. Well, first of all, Hillary and Bill Clinton gave the technology to them in 1997. Obama was funding not only ISIS, but the Democratic and neocon parties from the Bush to Clinton, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, neocon party, same system, same funders. All right, same CIA group running them. Just little puppets, little changes, so the people are stupid, so they think, okay, people won't recognize. They'll just think they're different parties, they're different people are in control. No, the same control. Same funders, same black ops group, CIA takeover group in control. Okay? And in that whole process, that's on public record. And I've shown you even the top, it's reported in the mainstream news. This was so amazing. So they say, no, we reported this to you, you just never saw it. Right? So I showed you other articles in the New York Times and the Washington Post and the New York Post or all these other articles in the years past that showed, yes, we did give nuclear technology to China in 97. Yes, we did fund ISIS and what they call the moderate Syrian rebels who are not moderate and they are now a part of ISIS. Okay? And I showed you those articles. Those are in your face because Satan has to say, no, I told you about this. No, I told you about this. Stop saying you didn't hear it. You just didn't read it. Okay? But now we are in a situation where there is now confirmed North Korea has the capability way beyond what the U.S. was saying. And of course, probably most of the people in the intelligence community knew that, but of course they keep telling the public, no, nothing, keep paying your taxes, keep sending your funds, etc., all this kind of thing. Okay? So, in a televised statement, North Korea described the underground explosion, which triggered a large earthquake, as a perfect success in the test of a hydrogen bomb for ICBM. This is, okay, right here. Pyongyang said the credibility of the operation of the nuclear warhead is fully guaranteed. The test just came hours after leader Kim Jong-un showed off what he described as a hydrogen bomb capable of being mounted on an intercontinental ballistic missile. The explosion at the nuclear test site at Pyeonggiri, North Korea's mountainous northeast mountainous region triggered an initial magnitude of 6.3 earthquake, followed by magnitude 4.1 tremor that was possibly caused by structural collapse, says the U.S. Geological Survey. The latest nuclear test was estimated to have a yield of as high as 100 kilotons, about 10 times the power of the North's previous test, and roughly 5 times out of the atomic bomb that the U.S. dropped on Nagasaki, Japan in 1945. South Korea's National Security Advisor, Mr. Chung, said after a 90-minute emergency meeting of the National Security Council that Seoul would consider the possible deployment of what he described as the most powerful strategic assets that the U.S. possesses, without elaborating, according to a statement from the presidential Blue House. The phrase strategic assets typically refers to stealth bombers, aircraft carriers, or possible nuclear weapons. The U.S. withdrew the last of its nuclear weapons from South Korea in 1991. Mr. Chung, who also spoke by phone with Lieutenant General McMaster, who is a traitor and who is now reporting to George Soros, that's confirmed by Israeli intelligence, and he's the one trying to box in President Trump, Cernovich saying that Trump is under house arrest by his governor, his generals. And these are McMaster, Kelly, and Mattis, who independently may be okay. Kelly and Mattis may be better. But when this guy starts colluding with them, and they've been 40 years friendship and all this kind of thing, say, hey, we got to protect the president, all this kind of thing. And now they're trying to block the president, trying to isolate him away from his voter base, away from people who are awake, away from the real media who's reporting true news to him and trying to get real information to the president. Okay? That's a serious problem. His counterpart at the White House and said that Moon Jae-in, the South Korean president, had called for the strongest punitive measures against Pyongyang. That includes diplomatic measures and a new United Nations Security Council resolution to completely isolate North Korea. Okay. So you see the different national powers, and isn't it interesting that this is all centered around Korea? Korea is on the world stage. Of course, in a failed way, and now in a way that is completely chaotic and on the verge of nuclear collapse. And if the Han Mother did not send a curse to all of the world, starting from Asia, obviously, first, because that's where Father wanted to begin Cheonigu culture and begin the Able UN and begin the strategic placement of democratic nations and alliance that would eliminate tyrants from its ranks, unlike the UN, which has all these tyrants in its UN Council. How can you have China as the head of the UN Security Council? Give me a break. They can get away with every single type of human rights violation. Can you take down? Human rights violation, and the UN doesn't do Shemitah on them. Does absolutely nothing. And that's why Father called the UN a satanic UN, because it protects Satanists, and it protects the big power brokers, and it protects these tyrannical, authoritarian nations. All right? The Able UN would not do that. It would not protect that. It would probably exclude, it would not allow dictatorship nations to be even in the UN. Okay? Do you see that? How different that would be? And of course, it would be moving for the opposite, right? The UN, the regular satanic UN, is always pushing for what? Disarmament, disarmament, disarmament. That's all you hear. That's all you'll hear. Disarmament. We have to disarm everybody, disarm everybody, disarm. Disarmament, disarmament, disarmament is the way. We're going to look at how successful their disarmament has been. Okay? They're bragging, oh, we've disarmed 1/3 of the nuclear warheads in the world. Oops, slight problem. There's a little problem there. They can be turned back on. Ooh, that's really not disarming, wouldn't you say? If they can be turned on in an instant and then you got them back right at the skyrocket level again, that's not really a great job, is it? And of course, the disarmament is done on nations which have been more sovereignty-based. Not the tyrannical nations. They've been going after gun-ho. They've been given it by our stupid presidents, like Bill Clinton and the CIA, Black Ops, governments that have been giving them the damn missiles. It's ridiculous. Anyways, this is a massive, massive situation now happening in Asia. All right, so before we get into the video, which we have talked about, the threat of nuclear war has always been there since the 1945s, okay? So it's always been there, but just people have been so brain dead to its reality, and of course not wanting to believe that it's coming because it's so terrifying, so terrible. Okay. It's been so horrible and horrific, and they've seen the tests, and they've seen the videos from the hydrogen bombs, all that kind of thing. So everybody knows how devastating it is. Okay? And so obviously, nobody wants to think about it. Okay? Nobody wants to think about nuclear holocaust. Because it's better not to think about it, you just feel better about your day, okay? You just feel better about your coffee, you feel better about your day, you'll feel better about your children a little bit, as long as you don't think about nuclear attack or nuclear war. The minute you have to think about nuclear war, then you have to start framing your existence and all of people's existence in a different way. You're in a seriously different world then. Now, we've had tremendous blessing for the last, 60, 70 years. When the Lord's second advent is on the earth, he was blocking those things and, of course, stopping, of course, North Korea from being even more insane than this, because they were way more insane. They could be way more insane than even Kim Jong-un. But obviously, everybody knows True Father played a critical role in staving them off and making them, docile. Okay? Now, if the Han Mother did not betray Father and, turn her back and reject the three kingship, etc., if she did not do that, then the work that we were doing in Korea would have been pressed forward now almost 5 years, but before that it was starting and we were making the inroads in for 5 years before that, so it's 10 years going on. And the message that we were giving to the South Korean government, and we were working at the highest levels of government, okay, Gukjeong Strong Korea initiatives. We had the vice deputy of the nation of Korea for the Defense Department at the events. He came to our church events as well. We had 60 stars of all the generals that were sitting at the events. He was being invited to the top military schools to give lectures about the reality of the threat of China, the underpreparedness of South Korea. And of course, we had a very clear strategic plan for Korea to move towards sovereignty. What was that? They're now in a military system where they don't train their men. Everybody's supposed to go to the army, but they don't train in actual military tactics or anything like that. It's more of a brainwashing camp. So they go into the military and they're taught for 2.5 years, you just have to obey the hierarchy, just worship the hierarchy. And you try to screw around, you're going to be just killed, okay? That's what the Korean men really learn. They shoot maybe around 200 rounds per year. We shoot that in a day, in an hour here. In an hour. 1 hour here, we'll be shooting 200 rounds easy. They shoot about 200 rounds a year. A year. Most of the time for Korean military men is guarding little bases. And they're just standing there smoking cigarettes all day. Guarding bases. That's all they're doing. And just taking orders. Learning that the hierarchy, the centralized government is your God. You have to obey this God. And if you don't, you screw around with it, we'll make your life miserable. We'll put you in prison. That's basically the training there, okay? So it's not really military training, it's an indoctrination training. That's what you get, of course, with centralized governments and archangelic powers. Okay? So what was a clear strategic guidance that we were giving to the Korean nation? Have your military men go to service, fine, that's fine. When they go to service, they do their training. When they come back home, you, the government, you should allow them to bring their weapons back to their home, like the Switzerland model, like the Israeli model. Okay? So you have a scenario where Israel is surrounded by hostile nuclear powers like Iran, etc., you name it, right? All the Middle Eastern nations trying to kill Israel. But they have everybody who's trained, even the girls have to go there, military. Everybody gets the military training, but then they also are able to get the guns. So in 1 hour, the whole nation becomes an army. In 1 hour. So there's an attack, boom, that thing's a military. Boom, already they're moving with their tank squads or whatever squads they got, okay? And that's why no nation around them, even though they're powerful in their nuclear capabilities, they don't want to mess with Israel. Because it's so powerful. It's a deterrent towards predators, okay? And also the same in Switzerland. Hitler decimated Europe. He took up all the nations of Europe. But there was one nation he didn't touch. What's that nation he didn't touch? Huh? Switzerland. Is that where they scream around the mountains like, ooh, ah, la, la. What is that? Yodeling? Yodeling. Is that yodeling from Switzerland? Is that right? I don't know how to do that. That's crazy. Okay, no more yodeling, please. Now, Switzerland was not touched. Switzerland wasn't touched because Hitler did the estimates. He said, if we go into Switzerland, what's it? It's going to be 1 million casualties. Is that what he said? Here, we're going to send in. No, he said, Kuk Chung told me this before. What was it? It was 1 million men we're going to send in. And then the Swiss guy said, okay, we'll go to the mountains, shoot twice, and then come back home. We got 500,000 military-age men ready to train, ready to go. So you come with 1 million men, we'll just climb up those mountains. We know those mountains. We'll shoot twice, boom, boom, and we'll come back home and then drink coffee. And then yodel. All right? And Hitler didn't touch it. He didn't touch it because there's great danger going in there. He's a predator, right? He's a predator. He's a wolf lurking on the outside. Ooh, look at all this Switzerland. Look at all these chocolates. Look at all these, whatever. Beautiful mountain range. Look at all those, Yeah, let's destroy that. And then he just, oh, shoot. There's some strong sheepdog in there. Ooh, look at those teeth. Oh, boy. No. Wait a minute. How many sheepdog are there? Wait. You see? And then he starts changing his mind. He said, ooh, let's move on to another. Come on, Wolves. Let's go to the next one. You see that? So he felt that. He felt the power that was there, and then he didn't mess with it. He didn't touch it. So that's the only country, Hitler didn't touch that country. It's right smack there, right in the middle. He didn't touch it. He didn't touch that country. because it would be such a devastating casualty to him. Okay? Now, if South Korea did that and listened to the direct guidance of Cain and Abel that we're giving to the top levels of government, top levels of the elite. And of course, as you know, spiritually, we were trying to divide the elite between Abel type, Cain type. Okay, because in order to get Abel type revolution, you have to split the elite, and the good elites have to help create the foundation and have the funds, all that kind of stuff, to support an actual battle, basically, that happens within their class ranks. Okay? Just like Donald Trump. He's from the elite, but because he's standing and all the people support him, boom, he can make this huge inroad against this deep state, right? You see? The same thing with Korea that had to be done, split. Okay, because it's highly centralized. And then you would get the firearms that they train with in the military that would be one step closer to the civilians. And then the civilians, the dad would train the mom how to use it when the dad is out or something and some bad guy tries to come in. Then it would be seen more as a self-defense tool. Even as that culture will start shifting, they'll start seeing, oh, not only as a military weapon, but also a self-defense tool. Right? And at the same time, he's going to train his kids, so his kids are going to learn about how to defend and have a proper amygdala function and think about self-defense. And, oh, if mommy and daddy are not here and there's a bad guy trying to break in, you have to go there, and you guys are trained. You're 14 years old now, so you got to go get the gun, and then you have to, put that assailant out. Okay? So then what happens? What happens to the mafias in Korea? What happens to all the gangs? What happens to all the bad predators? Are they going to think twice about breaking into grandma's home? Absolutely. Yeah, you see that? Now they're going to think twice about breaking into grandma's home or even a single mom's home or somebody else's home, okay? They're not going to have the leverage of power that they once had. Does that make sense? And when the firearms would be brought down that way, then it would bring a whole new culture. You could start connecting with father sovereignty culture and the hunting farm, the hog hunting farm he was making down in Yosu, or the fishing farm, all those self-reliance arts, all the aquaponics and all this stuff, self-reliance things, they would just naturally connect, because that whole culture of being into self-defense and understanding how to defend yourself and empower your kids to defend themselves, that's all connected to self-reliance. And not being a slave to a system, not being a slave to some archangels promising you they'll do it for you. You see what I'm saying? It changes the culture. It brings the rod of iron to the hands of the people. Although it's not perfect and not Chaniguk yet, right? At least it would be moving in that direction. And it would be showing a huge example in Asia, which could then stimulate what? North Korea would have to see South Korea totally differently. Right now, it looks at South Korea, and it's completely disarmed. You understand? I mean, they're walking around as one of the most, wired nations in the world. They got all the fancy new clothes on, driving Mercedes-Benzes around. And North Korea is saying they have no way to defend themselves. They're completely sitting on like a pile of gold, or let's say a pile of filet mignon that's freshly cooked. It's all ready to eat. And the wolves are around that borderline looking at it and say, ooh, I smell something. The hyenas say, ooh, I smell something. You smell that meat over here? Look what we got back here. We got nothing but bones. Elephant graveyards back here. Look it down there. Ooh, a mountain of filet mignon. Then you got all these stupid, dumb South Koreans that are totally brain dead, doesn't know what world planet they're living on. Thinking everything's good, hunky-dory, everything is fine, everything is cozy, everything is Paris baguette and croissant. And they just walking around, having their little time, really a little internet, ghettos and on their internet worlds and digital stupid Korean dramas, just going out and having a little, oh, let's go to the coffee house. Oh, yeah. They have no idea what danger they are in. Absolutely no idea. And they're sitting on a mountain of filet mignon, which the wolves want to eat. That's not a good situation. That's a really bad situation, okay? But if South Korea listened to the direction of Father, supported the sovereignty that he was building with the Yosu and the boating and the hunting grounds and all those things that were connected with self-reliance and connected with sovereignty, connected with men learning how to do self-reliance activities again, and women also being brought into this culture too, become stronger, and children learning this culture again, then you would have, within 5-10 years, you have a massive change in the environment. Japan too could have prepared earlier for this, and not talking now, but hey, we may need nuclear capabilities now, because right now they're shooting ICBMs over our heads and we have no preparation. Who saw the King's Report with the brother from Hokkaido? I asked him, how are the people in Japan prepared? Are you prepared? I mean, is there even a culture of preparedness? Are there preppers in Japan? And he said, no. Complete reliance on the government that has proven to lie to you, proven to every single thing they say, they do it 1 million times worse. And yet, the dumb people believe them. It's such a sad state of affairs, and it's really the Stockholm Syndrome. They've just been so brainwashed from a young age in the public schools to be taught to love the government, believe the officials, they'll take care of you. Believe the politicians, they'll take care of you. And so the brother in Hokkaido, I recommended that, maybe they should start a YouTube channel where they're starting to talk about preparedness. Just talk about it. Just start talking about it on YouTube. Just start a dialogue about it. Hey, in America, there's this thing called preppers, or there's like a big movement of millions of people who are into preparedness. And, let's say best case scenario, nothing happens. Well, you can still eat your prepared food. You didn't lose anything. You still got tons of food to eat. And you can see it's not only terrorist attacks or nuclear attacks, it's also natural disaster. You saw Hurricane Harvey. We had Bob Exler. We see Bob Exler on the show. Bob Exler was there. Explained to us what was happening in Houston. With all the waters rising up to here, people catching fish out of their houses. You see this? We showed them. You see this? They're catching fish in their house, this one guy. He thinks it's a big joke. His house is like underwater, this much, and he's catching fish. Yeah, baby, put it on the internet. Hello, sir, your house is underwater. You understand that? You may want to evacuate now. He's in his shorts swimming around. Oh my goodness, that man has had one too many beers, okay? Oh my Lord. Okay, anyways, the point is, it doesn't have to be that kind of man-made disaster. It could also be a natural disaster, which of course, then you will obviously just use your prepared items for that. Or we were talking about, with Bob, about having a bug-out location, having somewhere you can go. Because Houstonians heard 3-4 days before, there's going to be like 130 inches of rain. But they were told by their Democratic mayor, stay. It's ridiculous. Don't move. Just stay in your home and just die. Because we're liberal and we're trendy. So just die, okay? They told them to stay in their homes. And the people listened to these fools. And now what? 30 plus dead. Now bodies are being found everywhere. So, the state of the matter is that there is a big prepping community in America, because America, why? Why we have such a strong prepping community in America? Because we still have guns. The nature of the gun and that kind of power forces you to deal with proper amygdala growth. You have to be aware that there are threats to your life, otherwise you wouldn't be training with the gun. You have to be aware there are threats to your life and your family's life, and you are preparing yourself, not relying on some politician or some government official promising you they'll take care of you, and they're always 45 minutes late. It's about you taking that dominion, you taking that responsibility and doing it. You see what I'm saying? It's so different. That gun culture is so important. That rod of iron culture. It makes you have to deal with threat, have to deal with potential threat, have to deal with the reality of danger. But not in a way that you're so paranoid, but you're realistic and you're as prepared as you can be. Do you see what I mean? It's a different mindset, civilization. It's proper, situational awareness. You're aware of the situation of the world, that there is instability, there are disasters, there are bad people, etc., right? It's not like you're in a liberal lunatic cult where you don't believe there's bad people. Just happy thoughts, happy thoughts. Happy thoughts, happy thoughts. Right? Christians getting beat up by Antifa. No, that's not happy thoughts, happy thoughts, happy thoughts. Ooh, yoga. Where's my tea? Where's my yoga mat? This kind of stupid thing. That's delusional. Okay? So the reality of this, the reason why America has such a strong prepping community and a survival-based community, because we still have guns. We still have the rod of iron. We still have tremendous power a normal citizen has compared to the rest of the world, which don't have that power. Okay? And just automatically believe what the higher powers say. Automatically believe what the archangel says. Automatically believe what the centralized government says. Okay? They're trained, and that's the only way. But in Japan, okay, you don't have the culture, but you could bring that sovereignty culture by talking about it on a YouTube video. Just, start a YouTube video, just talking about it. And then other people in Japan who are worried about the situation can start talking to you. And then you can start sharing, well, in America, I heard they do this, this, or this. And of course, you would do it in the best confines of the laws that you have there. But you would have something rather than nothing. And you would start a community and a dialogue just by talking about it on the internet, releasing it into the atmosphere. You would start connecting with people that are seriously also worried about it too. Because there are people that are worried about it in Japan too. Okay? But that wouldn't just start from Hokkaido. That would have happened 10 years ago. At least 5 years ago, it would have started happening. We could have started bringing this kind of stuff out right around when Father was ascending. And this type of culture. Yeah, at least even just talking about it publicly. And that would just start forcing the dialogue, forcing people to reevaluate their reality, okay? East Asia would be a radically different place if South Korea became strong, if Japan became strong, and now their people started inheriting and adopting the sovereignty-based mentality, not trusting and relying only on the centralized powers. And of course, they would be on the trajectory of a way which they can understand the kingdom better, and they can understand Cheongguk and the Constitution better. Whereas now, what has happened? They've now imploded into the most socialist president they've ever got, commie president with some of the most radical leftists ever in Korean history, put up in different departments, head of departments, etc. I mean, you're talking about a radical socialist government now. All right? And it was exactly what we told Aunt Mother would happen, because if she does what she did and betray Father and tries to destroy him, she will destroy herself. And the curse will come. And now you got IC bombs flying over Japan. You got H bombs going off now. And you got escalation. And by the way, just to top it off with a little cherry for y'all, you got worldwide economic collapse coming soon to a theater in the EU. Congratulations, everybody. So you just have mounting problems, okay? Father is very clear. He said, Han Mother will decide. The kingdom will come because of the victorious Abel and Cain and Abel, and it's through the vertical transfer of sovereignty and lineage that, of course, the kingdom of God will be held on vertically. And she could choose either path of blessing or path of destruction, path of judgment. Either way, the kingdom would come, just one's going to be a lot more painful. A lot more painful. And as we ramp up into the month where the Revelation 12 is coming real, we now see more escalation, more escalation. It's not getting better. Of course, it would be great if it get better, but it's not getting better. Okay? So, there is a potential, there has been a potential for a nuclear attack and also warfare since 1945. So let's keep it in context. There's always been a threat. But the Messiah was here, and the Lord Saint Admiral was here, and he was working on the international stage to stop those kind of attacks. And he was the only key player, whether it be in North Korea trying to fend off Kim Jong-il and that whole Kim regime trying to do exactly what they're doing now, or whether it was sending 3,000 young people to Russia to train Russian people to fight against communism, which eventually led to the end of the Cold War from inside out. Of course, Gorbachev even coming to greet Reverend Father and then thanking him. Okay? So, okay, the threat has been there since 1945, but the threat has never been as great as it is now, at least in the modern era. At least the young people here never experienced this type of radical escalation and the type of danger that it can occur. Okay? Now, we have to also be realistic with what can happen, because you can't just be, if you don't know enough about it, you're just going to be filled with fear, and you're going to be paranoid, you're not going to know what the heck to do. If you understand actually how devastating, or what problems, or what the realities of a nuclear explosion are, then you have a better picture of what is really going to happen. Not what the movies show, not what CNN says, what the actual technology is. Okay? So then if you're preparing, or you're just trying to get basic food supplies to try to get for your family or whatever, at least you have a better picture instead of going off of what a movie scene you've seen, or the thing about some, nuclear movie. Is there a nuclear movie about a nuclear bomb? What is that? Day After, some things like that, okay? What you get from Hollywood. The problem is when you talk, whenever, and I think I'm guilty of this myself, I did not want to, I personally have not done nuclear preparedness. I've always done wilderness preparedness, a different type of bug-in, bug-out scenario preparedness, that level. But then there's another level of nuclear preparedness, because things change when you have radioactive material flying around. It's not like wilderness survival. You can still use some of those skills. It's not like bug-in, bug-out scenarios, okay? It's going to be more bug-in scenarios, okay? And then there's other things you have to think about that happen in that kind of scenario. But even talking about this gets people's minds shutting down, because it's so painful to even think about it. Like, you don't even want to think about it. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't even prepare. I don't even know how to make a fire with twigs. I am not ready to think about nuclear holocaust. Well, too bad. Welcome to Sunday service today. I've been telling you to prepare for how many years now? All right, so if you didn't, that's your fault. This is also an upcoming reality, potential upcoming reality. Now, is it going to be reality like it is in South Korea, like it's very dangerous now? Super high red alert, DEFCON, 6 level, very high level danger alert. Is it as dangerous? No, of course not. We're in Northeast Pennsylvania, probably one of the safest places in the country, and Father's hand is here and sent the 3 kingdoms here, okay? All right, stop. Okay, all right, okay. So you're happy because you're here, but what are all those folks out there? What about all those sanctuarians that I got to talk to on a weekly basis, thousands that are out there? They're saying, you lucky Northeast Pennsylvania. But we're stuck in here. And, some of the kids trying to even come for these seminars, not seminars, the events coming up, upcoming events, September 7 and 23, they can't even get out of the country if they're a young, able-bodied man. They're not letting them out because they know they're trying to run away. All these young men's visas were denied in South Korea, even trying to come for these ceremonies. Denying them. Why? Because there's imminent danger. And these brain-dead South Koreans still talking about, oh, there's nothing going on. Yeah, it's always like this. It's always like this. Ha, ha, ha. Come on, let's go get some coffee, honey. Let's go. Let's go to Starbucks. Ah. They have no reality check. They don't know the devastation. Within 1 hour, 8 million people could be dead, vaporized. They don't know what kind of danger they're living in. That's how brain dead and brainwashed they've become. They're like living in a cult. They blame us for being a cult. They're in a damn cult. They're in the state as God cult. So you have this reality now. Now, here is obviously not going to be as dangerous as you will see. Even if something hits New York, Chicago, what else? What are the biggest cities already? Washington. I'm sorry, how could you forget Washington, D.C.? Washington, D.C. Don't say it now. I know some of you are saying that would be a blessing, but I'm just, don't say it. LA, what is it, San Fran? Huh? No, Scranton's not a major city. That's not a major city. But who knows? Who knows what is on, right? Who knows what is? I'm talking about some big cities, right? Maximum damage is if they're going to do something. Obviously, we know North Korea can't hit the U.S., but we don't know if they have capability to miniaturize the missile nuclear technologies to hit with a nuclear bomb. So in order to actually hit or America to experience some kind of nuclear exchange, it's probably going to be if the world, if East Asia starts a world war, right? And then Russia and China are backing them or something like that, and then we have to fight against China and Russia. Then we have a more escalated threat, right? But we're in a different situation than in Korea. Okay? You guys are a lot more safe. Our brothers and sisters in Korea, they're on the life razor's edge right now. They're trembling if they understand what's going on. They got ICBMs flying over their head in Hokkaido, okay? You understand? This is a little different. Can you imagine we got ICBMs flying over Pennsylvania, okay? We're not even at that stage yet, but the point is, I'm not only speaking to you all here in this sanctuary, I'm speaking to the whole worldwide sanctuary about what kind of mentality we have to be dealing with. So, obviously, Northeast Pennsylvania is a place prepared by God. It was a critical area for Trump to become the president. The critical point. It was the one that made him president. Okay, it was a place where the Trump family and father's kingship became connected. Okay. It was a place where the world president was elected, even though the U.S. doesn't like to call their president the world president, that's what he is. Okay? So Pennsylvania, obviously, we know, is a providential area, and it is and of course, thank God, it is outside of the range and danger zones, major danger zones of the major metropolis areas that will likely be targeted for a hit. But again, I'm just giving context. We're not in the same situation where South Korea is now, or Japan is now. You get that, right? We're not in that same. We are much safer than they are now. They are in East Asia. They are on the razor's tip. They're in big trouble right now. Okay? So let's look at this video. That's a discussion, okay? It's meant to be discussion. It's not say, oh my gosh, everybody's going to leave. Don't, sisters, don't leave. It's, oh my gosh, the king said we're all going to blow up. We're going to go die. Nuclear power die. Don't freak out like that. Calm down. She's already telling her husband, we're going to die. Listen to what I said. Don't just hear it with your emotion. Listen to what you said. You are safer here, obviously. All right? But in other parts of the world, they're not as safe as you. Okay? So even starting a discussion, which is not happening, it's almost censored and it's almost made illegal, at least culturally, you're not supposed to talk about it. This has to be broken. We have to be able to talk about these kind of things and not be silenced. Whether it be by a church, the ecclesiastical body, or whatever, or government body, these kind of things, or socially, by peer pressure, they should not be able to silence you. So when people are trying to silence you by talking about this stuff, you say, you're stupid. You're the one who's stupid. Now I know. When you come knocking on my door, if there's a problem, I'm going to reject you. Find a different place. We have to be able to talk about these things and discuss and dialogue these things and after have community where we're talking about these things because then everybody's thinking in a different manner. Not, okay, Sunday, what's for lunch? Okay, what's for lunch? Okay, we're going to hang out a little bit and we're going to go on. We're going to have a nice day and we're going to go work on Monday. That's great. Okay, do that. But what about your preparing in different levels? These are things to get you thinking, not only here. Again, I'm not only talking to you here in Newfoundland. We're talking to whole brothers and sisters all worldwide, our 60-plus churches, sanctuaries around the world. 66 plus, what is 60, what is it, 70, what is it, over 70 now? Close to 80 countries, hundreds of sanctuaries now around the world. Okay? So, okay, yes, you're sitting in front of me, and you're the rare group that has driven a couple hours to get here. But there's other people that can't get here. They have to fly days to get here, okay? So I'm talking to them too. So they should be thinking about it too. Because East Asia blowing up, if it does, in a problematic situation like that, that's closer to Europe, that's closer to Eastern Europe, that's closer to Africa, that's closer to, if they live in Taiwan, that's closer if you live in Japan, obviously, Philippines, we have a big community in Philippines, Thailand, you name it. Okay? So we have to think about these kind of things as well, even though even this uncomfortable topic of nuclear war. I know you don't want to think about it. I know you'd rather not think about it. Too bad! We have to think about it. Go ahead, tech team, play the video.
사회주의 조국을 위하여 항상 준비하자!
It's a brainwashed cult. Look at that. That's competitive crying right there. Competitive crying right there. Ooh, you see, even just seeing this image, you don't want to think about it. Even just looking at that, you want to say, oh, this is stupid. We shouldn't be thinking about this. This is ridiculous. Come on, there's not going to be an attack. You're arrogant and you're selfish. You're not living in South Korea or Japan. You're a selfish, narcissist person who's only thinking about yourself because you live in a safe place protected by lots of guns. Whereas there's a lot of poor people out there in the different countries that
Flanked
are not
by his
protected.
Secretary of State, UN Ambassador, and National Security Advisor, President Trump is turning up the heat on North Korea for a third time this week. Late tonight, asked, is the U.S. going to war?
Tech team,
I think
turn
you
that
know the
volume
answer
down a
to
little
that.
bit. Thank you. Now, we're not trying to get you scared and stuff like that, but we
has
have to be able to discuss.
disrespected our country greatly. He has said things that are horrific. And with me, he's not getting away with it. He got away with it for a long time between him and his family. He's not getting away with it. It's a whole new ballgame. And he's not going to be saying those things, and he's certainly not going to be doing those things. I read about we're in Guam by August 15th. Let's see what he does with Guam. He does something in Guam, it will be an event the likes of which nobody's seen before, what will happen in North Korea. It's not a dare, it's a statement. It has nothing to do with dare. That's a statement.
This is a crucial warning to the United States, calling that fire and fury comment by President Trump a load of nonsense. They say that this has infuriated the Army. They list the exact rockets that they plan to use to fire at Guam,
ABC
David.
propaganda
And they say
news right there.
this plan will be complete
CIA
by
operatives
mid-August.
right there.
The administration will have to decide whether some sort of preemptive strike or some other measure should be undertaken to stop Kim.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. He has been very threatening beyond a normal statement. And as I said, they will be met with fire, fury, and frankly power, the likes of which this world has never seen before. President Obama said global warming is the biggest threat. I totally disagree. I say that it's a simple one. Nuclear is our greatest threat worldwide. Not even a question, not even close.
What to do if North Korea carries out its threat to lob 4 ballistic missiles in this direction? In the event of a missile attack, do not look at the flash or fireball. It can blind you. Take cover under a concrete structure or below ground. Lie flat on the ground and cover your head. It could take 30 seconds or more for the blast wave to hit. And if caught outside, shower with lots of soap and shampoo to help remove radioactive contamination.
NBC
Washing hair
News
and
for that.
taping windowsills and stuff like that, that's kind of new to us. This is a weapon that we don't want to mess around with.
North Korea's military says its missiles would drop fear into the United States, splashing down in international waters 20 miles off Guam.
Okay, so do you see even how the mainstream media is forced to cover this now?
Nobody ever wants to experience the devastation that's caused by nuclear weapons. For decades, the Soviet Union and the United States have built and tested hundreds of different nuclear weapons, with so many nuclear blasts documented with video evidence, and after the US bombed Japan, seeing firsthand the devastation, the world clearly doesn't want to experience it ever again. Fortunately, we've avoided all-out nuclear war in the 21st century. However, today, the threat of nuclear war is still very real. Whether in the hands of a small country or a top nation state, nuclear war is something everybody should be prepared for. Much like planning the natural disaster, economic collapse, and other so-called events, it's important to have a plan and supplies already in place. If you don't have a clue what supplies you should consider, I've put together the top 20 things you absolutely must have to survive a nuclear war and total economic collapse.
Makes you like have cognitive dissonance.
Make a plan.
You don't want to think about it.
If a nuclear attack does happen, it won't be safe to venture outside for food. You should stay sheltered for at least 48 hours, preferably longer. Having food and medical supplies on hand can put your mind at ease and allow you to focus on other aspects of the survival. 2. Fallout chamber bunker. You would like to dig yourself a nice deep hole surrounded by solid thick concrete walls. The radiation from nuclear fallout can be extremely dangerous and can linger for several days after the initial blast. Radiation can even seep through the material, so that's why it's important to have a thick wall between the invisible radiation and your family. The thicker the wall, the better, because it loses its negative attributes when passing through things. If you don't have a nuclear shelter, this whole list may be irrelevant. That's what makes it the most important item to have among the list of top 20 items you absolutely must have to survive a nuclear war. 3. Heat source. You can only survive 3 hours in dangerous weather conditions. If you live in a colder location, you will want to have some sort of heat source within your shelter. This should already be packed in your kit. You do not want to gather sources of heat after a blast or during the fallout. 4. Electric generator. A good hand crank generator or a more advanced electric generator can be the difference between freezing to death in pitch black chaos and enjoying a nice, comforting cup of tea in your fallout shelter while you wait for the chaos outside to subside. While they can be a little bit expensive, an electric generator gives you endless option for heating, cooking, lighting, and powering your subterranean fallout shelter. 5. Bedding. Staying warm is important. Most likely the blast will knock out power and you will be without electricity, and most likely it will be cold for a while. You can buy and use bedding units for a camping kit or invest in a higher end bed set, but it is important you can bring it with you in case you need to evacuate after the initial blast and radiation has subsided.
Stop the video. That bedding, remember we recommended anybody who's asking what we're training with is the MMS system. The military modular system, I've tested that to negative minus 27 degrees. Okay, so we've done the training those bags work. So even if your house was like even an underground, let's say worst case scenario, and you were in that and it was so cold, like an ice box in there, that MMS would keep you alive and give you a solid 8 hours of sleep, as long as you got a good pad underneath you. So that way, at least in the daytime, you can move around in the house a little bit, better than just staying still all day. But that bedding and that shelter, thermoregulating, so key. That's the leading cause of death in the wilderness. See how a lot of these skills transfer from wilderness survival into bugging in survival? All the same principles and threats are still there. So it's not like if you're training in wilderness survival, you're not learning anything about other stuff. You're learning about how to keep yourself alive in a hostile environment. Okay, so then being in a controlled environment, like a house, that's what we call bugging in. Well, then you have a controlled environment, but you have to be ready for that controlled environment. Okay, hit it, boys.
6. Water. Water is something first world-class citizens take for granted on a daily basis. Turn on the tap, buy a bottle of water, or visit your local fast food chain and you can find water. The idea of not having water is simply an afterthought. The painful truth is that when a nuclear blast occurs, the first priority is to protect your water. Ideally, you want to have enough water stored in advance and it should be given top priority. Many emergency kits come complete with the capacity to store multiple gallons of water. A family of 4 should store a minimum of 12 gallons of water.
Stop right there. 12 gallons per day for family of 4. And remember, you can't go out in this scenario. Let's say not Pennsylvania, but let's say somewhere else, right? Our brothers and sisters in different areas. Let's say if there is a nuclear war in that East Asia, they can't just walk out and get firewood and make a fire. They're going to start getting radioactive, material into the air, into their lungs, just by making a fire in their basement or something, you know what I mean? So the fire sources that will help disinfect water, or if you have purified water already there, that is a huge thing. So if somebody was even collecting rainwater in Korea or Japan, in Hokkaido, and just talking about, hey, yeah, we have a big tank out here and we just capture water and it just comes, and just, you can store that water. But those last 3 points, having heaters or ways to keep yourself warm, your family warm, sleeping bags, good quality sleeping bags. Best is like the MMS, even though they're heavy, they're still doable. They're 11 pounds, but they're heavy and they're heavy duty. They're for our military. Okay, and then of course, plenty of water. So even looking through this list, when I was looking through this list, I'm listening, wow, I'm not, like for example, they have generator, they have as a generator. That's a really important point. If you want the luxury of having some kind of electric heater plugged in or some kind of radio plugged in, you know what I mean? Or you want something, you want your propane is connected to electricity, etc. But then a generator, there's all sorts of types of generators. There's like bicycle pedal generators where you can actually pedal it like a bicycle and keep the generator moving, and it's not reliant on even your car or any type of socket. You know what I mean? But again, a generator gives you a lot of other options if there's a serious scenario. Okay, but see how these transfer over even in wilderness survival, bugging out survival, tactical military survival, or even bugging in survival. A lot of these things cross over because it's trying to keep human people alive, right? Go ahead, hit it, boys.
Every single day. 7. Food. Freeze-dried food, canned food, and any non-perishable food is important. If you want, you can even add some nice plants and set up a hydroponic system for keeping fresh food in your bunker. Dry foods like cereals, beans, rice, and flour are good to have as well. You'll also want to consider some ready-to-eat meals or military meals, RMEs. 1 RME a day can offer you enough calorie and nutrition to survive a nuclear blast while hanging out in your fallout shelter if required. Make sure you get hold of some of these flameless heaters for prepping your MREs. 8. Potassium iodine. To protect your thyroid from the harmful effects of radiation after a nuclear explosion and to reduce the risk of cancer, take potassium iodine tablets immediately after the blast. This should be a large part of your fallout shelter. Nuclear explosions can produce heavy amounts of radioactive iodine, but if iodine tablets are taken just before or just after the ingestion of radioactive fallout, Ki or Ki03 pills will saturate your thyroid, reducing the possibility of radioactive iodine getting to your thyroid. These pills have a shelf life of around 5 years, so it's important, just like other rations, you need to resupply after a certain period of time. 9. Radiation detector. Before leaving outside of your shelter, you will want to make sure that the radiation levels are safe enough. Ideally, you want the radiation levels to be below 20 rem. For a more thorough explanation of these radiation levels, you can read Survivopedia's post. 10. Stock up on medical supplies. Having a few medical items available could be the difference between life and death if you're injured in the attack. You'll need a basic first aid kit. You can purchase these pre-packaged or make one yourself. You'll need sterile gauze or bandages, antibiotic ointment, latex gloves, scissors, tweezers, a thermometer, and a blanket. A first aid instruction booklet. Purchase one from an organization like the Red Cross, or assemble your own with materials you print off the internet. You should know how to bandage wounds, administer CPR, treat shock, and treat burns. Prescription medications or supplies. If you take a specific medication every day, try to make sure you have a small emergency supply built up. 11. Stock up on vitamins. A lot of preppers do not think about this either, but it is very important. These days, it is becoming increasingly difficult to get adequate nutrition from the foods that we eat. That is why it is very important to have an adequate store of vitamins and other supplements. 12. Personal hygiene items. While these may not be an absolute essential, the truth is that life will get very unpleasant very quickly without them. For example, what would you do without toilet paper? Just think about it. Imagine that you finished your last roll of toilet paper and now you can't get any more. What would you do? The truth is that soap, toothbrushes, toothpaste, shampoo, toilet paper, and other hygiene products are things that we completely take for granted in society today. 13. Pocket knife.
Point.
A good pocket knife can help in many ways. You never know when you will need to cut open some bags of food, open a can, build a gadget of some sort, or even fight off potential enemies as a last resort. A good solid stainless steel pocket knife will be your best friend before, during, and after a nuclear explosion. 14. Sandbags. Why? Because you want to continue increasing the distance between you and the radiation. The thicker your barrier, the less radiation will harm you, as stated above. It will lose its negative attributes when passing through physical things. For every 3.6 inches of sand or dirt between the radiation and yourself, you will literally halve your dose of exposure. This inevitably increases your chance of survival dramatically. 15. Get other miscellaneous items. Round out your emergency preparedness kit with the following: a flashlight and batteries, dust masks, plastic sheets and duct tape, plastic ties and wet wipes for personal sanitation, a wrench and pliers to shut off utilities such as gas and water. 16. Radio. A portable radio is indispensable. The most likely scenario is that you will be able to gain valuable access to alerts, warnings, and government information so that you can be prepared and know what is happening outside. Of course, things will be chaotic and you may not trust everything that's on the radio, but note that a good AM and FM radio is better than no radio at all. Even better, invest in a CB radio so that you can reach local friends and residents near you to check on their status and get local reports. 17. A good rifle.
There it is, see that?
Guns, like them or hate
See how
them,
gun
they are
culture is
essential
connected
during
to
times of
preparedness?
crisis and war. When you don't know what could be happening outside, there's nothing like having a good rifle to protect your family from impending zombie attacks or the real enemy who dropped the bomb in the first place. Also, when the time is right and you have no other choice but to hunt for your own food, a rifle can help you kill the animal you need to feed your family, or protect your food supply from any savages who want to steal and plunder your food and resources for their own survival. 18. Assess your risk and consider evacuation if a nuclear exchange is looking prominent. If evacuation is not an option, then it should at least affect the kind of shelter you construct for yourself. Learn your proximity to the following targets and plan approximately. Airfields and naval bases, especially those known to house nuclear bombers, ballistic missile submarines, or ICBM silos, these are certain to be attacked, even in a limited nuclear exchange. Commercial ports and runways over 10,000 feet, 3,048 meters long. These are likely to be attacked even if a limited nuclear exchange and certain to be attacked in an all-out nuclear war. Centers of government. These are also likely to be attacked even in a limited nuclear exchange and certain to be attacked in an all-out nuclear war. Large industrial cities and major population centers. These are likely to be attacked in the event of an all-out nuclear war. 19. Keep an eye on the news. A nuclear attack will unlikely come out of the blue for an enemy nation. Such an attack would likely be preceded by a deteriorating political situation. A war with conventional weapons between nations that both have nuclear weapons, if not ended swiftly, may escalate towards nuclear war. And even limited nuclear strikes in one region carry the likelihood to escalate towards an all-out nuclear war elsewhere.
CIA propaganda.
Many countries have a rating system to denote the imminence of an attack. In the USA and Canada, for example, it may be useful to know the DEFCON Defense Condition Level 20. Keep your prepping to yourself. Do not go around and tell everyone in your area where you live about your prepping. If you do, then you may find yourself overwhelmed by visitors when everything falls apart. And please do not go on television and brag about your prepping to a national audience. Prepping is something that you want to keep to yourself, unless you want hordes of desperate people banging on your door in the future.
Okay,
Please
stop. That's important. So why is the king talking about my prepping and preparedness? I have no damn choice. I have no choice. But I know there's fools that are thinking, oh no, if it anything happen, we'll just go to Palestine. There's a capacity. I'm telling you this so you prepare and you don't become part of the desperate hordes that I have to shoot. You understand? Don't be a fool. I'm telling you in advance. You cannot expect other people to prepare for you. The reason why I'm telling you this in advance, and I've been telling you for 3 years, is because you have to do the responsibility. Stop expecting other people to do it for you. Every survival situation and location has a limit. If more people exceed that limit, you start putting at risk the lives of people who are in that place. So there's a limit to Bluestone, there's a limit to the palace, there's a limit to Cook Genesis Properties. Do you get it? There's a physical limit. And if there's 50 people out there raiding a place, we're going to have to be required to defend it. And we got tons of guns, you understand? You don't want to be on the opposite side of that. Just crazy. Crazy. Now, to keep this in perspective, let's turn those lights on. Go ahead, kids, turn on the lights. Now, to keep it in perspective again, we are in Pennsylvania. That's a lot safer than Korea right now. Korea is in a whole different situation. They can't acquire guns. But look, even though you can't get everything on that list, and that's a pretty good list. I mean, that's a pretty good starting point, I would say. A lot of the skills in the wilderness survival that the kids are training now and stuff like that helps you, and it crosses over into this. At least it gets you in thinking about defending your life and defending the life of your family. You know what I mean? At least it gets you thinking, oh, hey, I really don't want my children to die and they're only 5 years old. Yeah, I don't want to be in a situation where I have that there's a shutdown situation and then I have to tell my kids, we have nothing. And now we have to go to Richard Panzer's house, who has nothing. Am I right, Richard? Okay, no, I'm not. You keep it yourself. Keep it yourself. He has more. He may have more than we don't know. But you're supposed to be responsible. You're not supposed to just come to Sunday service and hear the king and you know, write the career. Hurry up, there's a day. And then go home and then have your frappuccino and then forget everything. You've had 3+ years to prepare. It's just that you have not. That's a problem. That's a problem. So, these kind of things are meant to stimulate. You have to stimulate. If you're being stimulated and being convicted by the Holy Spirit, you gotta, at least you have to start thinking about these scenarios. You can't be brain dead in a liberal lunatic cult, neocon cult. This is a serious situation. Okay? Now, there's no guarantee that there's going to be a nuclear holocaust in East Asia. Right? Korean kids, don't be writing to your parents, oh, there's going to be a bomb tomorrow. It's going to stop me and get out now. Okay? Because again, you're not hearing the content. You're getting, obviously it's a scary topic. And it's a topic that the societal cult tells you never not to talk about. And if you talk about it, you're crazy. Even though the guy's shooting hydrogen bombs now underground and being successful with the largest nuclear tests now, even though there's ICBMs flying over Hokkaido, and we had even Hokkaido people on the King's Report, even though all that, just you can't talk about it. Well, you have to say, screw you to the wall. I'm going to talk about it because you have to, by talking about it and releasing it from this cultish don't talk mentality that the liberal lunatics and the controllers want you to have, because they don't want you to be prepared, because when you're not prepared, then you'll listen to every command they give you. Go to the cities right now. New York City has just been hit. We call on all New Yorkers to go to New York City right now. You going to follow that? This is a federal emergency management system with an emergency warning to all citizens of New York. We are calling on all citizens to the safest place is New York City right now. I can't believe there's this one Marine who made this ridiculous video about trying to urban survival, and there's a nuclear disaster or something like that, and he's telling people to go into the cities. He is a nutbag, and you should say you are brain dead in the head. That is a place you want to avoid. The city has the greatest risk because there's a lot of different groups and people that you cannot control. In the wilderness, a black bear is much safer than a human being who wants to get stuff from you. Way safer. A grizzly bear cougar is 100 times safer than a human being who has very high IQ compared to animals. And if they want to take something from you, they're going to find out many, many different ways to try to kill you or get you stuff. Sad reality, but true. That's the last place you want to go, especially if you're not in the city. Why are you going to? He has a video where he's got a whole video crew following him too. It's probably paid for by the federal government. It's like a film like Bear Grylls, a handsome young man, handsome Marine. I'm a Marine. Yeah, I've been in this war. And he's got a whole camera crew following him. And if a scenario breaks down, you got to go back into the city. What? Who paid for this? Who paid for that video? I want to know the funder of that video. That is ridiculous. Talking about if you go, there's a nuclear disease, chemical attack, nuclear attack in the city, go to the city. Are you crazy? Okay, you do that if you want to die. That is ridiculous. Anyways, the point is, yes, okay, the level of threat here is better than it is in Asia. Okay? But as you can see, we're in a situation where many things are called compounding. We are in a compounded situation. We don't only have a crazy man in North Korea doing the high H-bomb stuff, okay? We don't only have things like this deteriorating with Russia and America and China and America. We don't only have political instability in the Soviet Europe, where it's being taken to run over by radical Islam. We don't only have those isolated things. They're not isolated. They're all together compounding on the world. Plus, we have top analysts like Jim Rogers, Peter Schiff, Harry Dent. I mean, these are the people that were predicting every single economic boom and bust. You understand? Every single one they predicted accurately. Ron Paul, every single economic boom and bust cycle, they have predicted accurately before it hit. And they're multimillionaires because of that. They predicted every cycle by looking at demographic statistics, etc. And every single one of them, unequivocally, there is an economic crash coming. We told you about that 3 years ago. So you implode all this political instability with George Soros funding all these radical groups trying to start civil war in America. You have all this instability in Middle East now with Iran pulling out their naval ships into the Pacific Ocean. And you have a crazy man in North Korea shooting up freaking ICBM missiles over nations now. Now testing H-bomb. Plus on top of that, you got radical Islam pouring over Europe. Plus on top of that, you got economic crash coming. How many times do I have to tell you? Just wait. It's like, oh, okay, we're just waiting. Okay, what's the second king gonna say this week? Ooh, it's like a movie. Ooh, it's so fun. Wow, it's like wait. This is not a movie. This is a reality that you are in. And you could see, as soon as we started playing this video, you see how your mind worked? As soon as you see those boom, boom, the big nuclear mushrooms, like, oh my God, I don't want to think. You see how your mind wants to shut off, it wants to turn off. That's why this guy is brilliant. He has all these cute little cartoons, and all the young kids, as soon as they see like cartoons, they're like, woo, they get mesmerized in. If it's an old like video from the 70s with grainy, something, that's how brain dead young people are. They got to see something trendy and look like animation. Ooh, then their mind turns on. It's ridiculous. They've been trained not to think about content and just be seeing the visuals and be captured by the visuals because they have a memory span less than a goldfish, less than 7 seconds a human being has now in the modern world. That's pathetic. That's all your video game and all your stupid TV gets you down to a memory of 7 seconds. That's how pathetic young people have become. That's why you don't transfer content, unless, of course, you're red-pilled or you're awake. Then you don't transfer content. You just watch images. That's all you're seeing. Your mind just gets stimulated the images. Don't be stupid. Hear content. Transfer content into your brain. That's why, for example, combat arts and fighting is very important because you have to transfer lots of information, lots of content into your brain and then actualize it fighting. It trains your brain to transfer a lot of information, a lot of content, and not just look at images. Okay? So this is a serious issue that is now on the horizon. Our president is talking about this. It is the greatest threat. Okay? Now, we had to keep this in context, okay? Because I don't want everybody freaking out and saying, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna die, honey, hurry up. Save me, do something, honey, do something." And rag on your husband all week. Do something. He said, I bought some extra batteries. Can't you see that? That's not enough. That's not a 20 on the list. Okay, you got to take it slow. All right, take it step by step. Don't freak out. Don't drive your man nuts. Don't drive your wife nuts, okay? Okay, better to take it. Hey, you're going to drink water anyways, right? Every time you go to the grocery shop, okay, you buy an extra gallon of water. So it's $1. It's $1. $1, you can get a gallon of water. Okay, every time you go to the grocery shop, just grab a gallon of water for an extra $1. Huh? Just grab a little can of soup for an extra $1.50. Or beans. You see? And then you're going to the supermarket, 2-3 times a week? Okay, so within a week, you got 3 gallons of extra water that's sitting in your basement. Then in a month, you got 16 gallons of water sitting in your basement. Next month, you got, what is that? 32. There you go. 32. Next month, you got 64. I mean, what is that? No. That's a double of 32. It's 34. That's double that. Anyways, you get the picture. My mind's not mathematical right now, okay? And I got too many people watching me right now. I can't think of it. Give me my calculator. You see what I'm saying? You can do small things. You can get a headlamp. He said, flashlight, get a headlamp. A candling device, much better. You have 2 hands open and you got a headlamp. You got all the things you want. Try to sync up your equipment so that you have AAA or AA. Easy to acquire batteries, easy to acquire, easy to trade if you have to, right? I mean, simple common sense things like people don't even think about common sense things like this. This is how unaware people are of their lives, of how spoiled they are, of how they take everything for granted. Guess what? If things go bad, you're going to be responsible for your safety, your children's safety, or your own safety if you're alone. If the electric grid goes down, which North Korea is already threatening on, they make tons of threats, okay? But that's what they're also saying. We're going to attack America's grid, all this kind of thing. If something like that happens, now you're used to just calling somebody up. You're used to just turning on your radio and just saying, "Come on." What if you have no tank gas and you can't get to where your friend is? There's already a gas shortage supply with the media, which the media has already made in Houston down there, already making a gas shortage supply by stirring people up into hysteria, saying there's no more gas, no more gas, no more gas. Everybody's buying gas, and now there's a gas shortage supply. You see that? That's a case where the media has created hysteria to create what it wanted, which is what it wanted, a gas supply shortage, so that it can say, you see the effects of global warming? Even though hurricanes are less frequent than 50 years ago. We actually have a drought compared to 50 years ago. We have to have more hurricanes worldwide, actually. Even though Al Gore promised you in his Inconvenient Truth documentary that by 2013, the icebergs would melt and the Himalayas mountains would melt. And New Delhi and New York would be underwater 8 feet. These are known liars, you understand? These are people that want to create a global government. Why? Because they can get what's called a global tax. How are you going to fund the world government? You're going to have a worldwide tax. And for the political Satanists and the archangels, they salivate when they hear the word world tax. Yeah. They salivate. Think how happy they are they could tax you in this local area. If they could tax the world, you know how many billions go in their pocket? They're so happy when they can tax a little county. Yeah, people just have no idea the type of predators you're dealing with. Okay, so that is a nice thing for us, obviously, that this man created, and it's a great service. It's a great service to the prepper community. But again, you can see how the guns are in there. Why? Because the gun culture is related to preparedness. Why would you have a gun? Why would you? Not just for hunting. You would also have a self-defense gun for what? Self-defense. What are you doing? Preparing for what? Self-defense. Preparing, see? It's connected to preparedness. And so thus it extends beyond that. And that's why you have a very strong, robust prepping culture in America, because you got so many guns here. People still have the little bit of awareness, at least the gun owners do. And that's why people who are in the gun community usually are more likely to be preppers and or people who are preparing for, any scenario. Now, you can't be ready for all scenarios, but you can be better prepared for some. Okay? Even the taboo nuclear scenario. This is probably the first time I discussed this, right? In how many years, right? Because even myself, I can see myself not wanting to talk about this stuff. Because it's so cognitively painful to think about. How many people feel some cognitive pain just watching that video, right? You just feel mentally stressed. And that's a normal reaction. But again, you can't be scared of reality because it's painful. And we are in a situation where our brothers and sisters are not all here in Pennsylvania. If they were all here in Pennsylvania, that's one thing. But they're scattered around the world. Right? And we know that also the micro is moving with the macro. So what we do on the micro also helps other people be stimulated. Who knows? Just by what we're doing here, we're already stimulating Hokkaido, Japan, stimulating Japan and Korea to talk about preparedness, make internet videos about talking about these things, which then helps other people who are Christians or conservatives or whoever think about, hey, maybe we have to think about these things a little bit. And then it helps build their communities. Do you see how the micro then gets connected to the macro? We are living in a stage now where Revelation 13 is also coming up too. Because we see also the censorship that's happening on the internet with conservative voices. Can you believe it? Diamond and Silk, two black African-American Holy Ghost sisters who love Trump. They are being demonetized by the racist Google, racist YouTube elites, racist, arrogant, hateful, vengeful Google executives are racistly banning Diamond and Silk African Americans because they have the wrong view. They demonetize them. That's their living. They make a living off that channel, and they're demonetized because they're black and they hold the wrong view and they're not on the same camp and the plantation. And they dare to speak another rhetoric to the black community. So the black community say, hey, I agree with them. I don't want to be in that. I don't want to listen to that stupid politician anymore. I agree with Diamond Silk. They demonetize them. Let alone censoring all the other people like David Knight and Alex Jones and Breitbart and every single one of them. Mike Cernovich, you name it. All these guys, James O'Keefe, Daily Caller, Tucker Carlson, they're banning, censoring these things on the internet with their algorithms. Purposeful. Then they'll put up stupid crap like the Young Turks, a total Saudi Arabia-funded, Wahhabi-supporting, pretending, posing to be atheists, Chunk Yogurt. His name is Chunk Yogurt or something like that, but they call him Chunk Yogurt, okay? Just to make fun of his Saudi Arabian, Wahhabi-backed rhetoric, defending radical Islam all the time, even though he claims to be an atheist. They have his videos trending up in the front of YouTube. So when you click on YouTube, you get these stupid liberal lunatics views, and you can't get real content from real news outlets that are not part of a propaganda machine to implode sovereignty and to centralize the state. That censorship is already happening. And also SPLC. So what's SPLC? Who knows SPLC? No. Young people, who knows SPLC? You should know SPLC. Okay, you know, I just told you about it. Southern Poverty Law Center. Total propaganda Marxist, George Soros funded CIA op. And they're touted by the New York Times, Washington Times, Washington Post, NBC, ABC, you name all the propaganda CIA media. As, oh, the human rights activists. They're out there now having Christian organizations like the Family Institute or whatever, Christian Institute, very prominent, was it? Family Research Council. I mean, you're talking about just a Christian organization talking about family values. They're now put on the hate list. That was actually a couple years now. They're now on the hate list. They're now suing the SPLC, obviously. But they were on that hate list, and what happens? Because they were on a, quote, hate list by the SPLC, they could not open an Amazon account. So they were prohibited for buying and selling. They had obstructions to their free association of buying and selling things that they want to buy and sell because they had the wrong view. You see that? They didn't believe the state is God and the government should be worshipped. And the Bilderberg groups are good. I don't even know what they're thinking about the Bilderberg group. The point is they had a conservative view, a Christian view, and they're put on a hate watch list by these propaganda organizations. And then they can't buy and sell, just like in Revelation 13. Then they can't even do normal trade because they have the wrong view that doesn't worship the beast. You see this? This kind of thing is not only escalating, it's here. We are living in a serious time, folks. Now look at the difference. This guy's a prepper, okay? I believe he's a prepper, this guy. So you can see, he's trying to say, hey, you should prepare. You. You see? Notice his message, right? This guy's like a YouTuber, and I think he's a prepper. He does a lot of videos on prepping and stuff like that. He's trying to just help put out information to the best of his ability. It doesn't mean he's perfect all the time, but he's trying to put out the best information, okay? But you can see what he's doing. He's trying to say, hey, everybody, you should be prepared, right? You. Now watch. The next video I'll show you is a TED Talk from an expert in nuclear science, but look at his conclusion. His conclusion is so different. Now, you have to remember, he's part of a government body. So I wonder, what would his conclusion be? You can see how different the conclusion is. This guy's just a normal citizen, okay, with a nice Australian accent or whatever he has. Who knows? That may be just an actual voice amalgamator, voice changer. You may not even have his real voice. Who cares? He's trying to tell normal citizens, hey, in the case of, he's not saying this is going to happen, but in the case it does, these are things to have and be prepared about. Just think about it. Right? Now, look at when Mr. Government Agent, who also gives some information, he gives information that's valuable, but look at the conclusion. Always, always, always Archangel. Go ahead, play that video.
So a big question that we're facing now, and have been for quite a number of years now, are we at risk of a nuclear attack? Now there's a bigger question that's probably actually more important than that, is the notion of permanently eliminating the possibility of a nuclear attack, eliminating the threat altogether. And I would like to make a case to you that over the years since we first developed atomic weaponry, until this very moment, we've actually lived in a dangerous nuclear world that's characterized by two phases, which I'm going to go through with you right now. First of all, we started off the nuclear age in 1945. The United States had developed a couple of atomic weapons through the Manhattan Project, and the idea was very straightforward. We would use the power of the atom to end the atrocities and the horror of this unending World War II that we had been involved in Europe and in the Pacific. And in 1945, we were the only nuclear power. We had a few nuclear weapons,
boys,
two of which we dropped on Japan and Hiroshima.
Jump forward to the blast. Jump forward to the blast radius. I don't want to hear this guy babble on and on. Okay, let's go jump forward to the blast radius when he does a hypothetical. If New York was hit by a nuclear attack, in this case, he's talking about a suitcase nuclear bomb. Okay? Jump forward to that section, maybe 2 to 3 minutes in. Go ahead, play it there. That's the whole series of
what we've done is we've quote unquote decommissioned some of the warheads.
They're still probably
from launching a nuclear attack on you. That's the way we were planning. It was absolutely incredible. Okay. So premise one is we'd be destroying the world, and then premise two is why don't we get prepared for it? So what we offered ourselves was a collection of things. I'm just going to go skim through a few things just to jog your memories. If you're born after 1950, this is just considered this entertainment. Otherwise, it's memory lane. This was Bert the Turtle.
Turtle by the name of Bert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He ducked and covered.
These children are practicing to duck and cover just as you do in your school.
This was basically an attempt to
How many people
teach our
did that?
School children
Do you guys do that?
if we did get engaged in a nuclear confrontation and atomic war, then we wanted our school children to kind of basically duck and cover. That was the principle. There would be a nuclear conflagration about to hit us, and if you get under your desk, things would be okay. I didn't do all that well in psychiatry and medical school, but I was interested, and I think this was seriously delusional. Secondly, we told people to go down in their basements and build a fallout shelter. Maybe it'd be a study when we weren't having an atomic war, or you could use it as a TV room, or as many teenagers found out, a very, very safe place for a little privacy with your girlfriend. And actually, so there are multiple uses of the bomb shelters. Or you could buy a prefabricated bomb shelter that you could simply bury in the ground. Now, the bomb shelters at that point, let's say you bought a prefab one, it would be a few $100s, maybe up to $500 if you got a fancy one. Yet, what percentage of Americans do you think ever had a bomb shelter in their house? What percentage lived in a house with a bomb shelter? Less than 2%. About 1.4% of the population, as far as anyone knows, did anything, either making a space in their basement or actually building a bomb shelter. Many buildings, public buildings around the country, this is New York City, had these little civil defense signs, and the idea was that you would run into one of these shelters and be safe from the nuclear weaponry. And one of the greatest governmental delusions of all time was something that happened in the early days of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, as we now know and are well aware of their behaviors from Katrina. Here was their first big public announcement. They would propose, and there were about 6 volumes written on this, a crisis relocation plan that was dependent upon the United States having 3 to 4 days warning that the Soviets were going to attack us. So the goal was to evacuate the target cities. We would move people out of the target cities into the countryside. And I'm telling you, I actually testified at the Senate about the absolute ludicrous idea that we would actually evacuate and actually have 3 or 4 days warning, which is completely off the wall. Turns out that they had another idea behind it. Even though they were telling the public it's to save us, the idea was that we would force the Soviets to retarget their nuclear weapons, very expensive, and potentially double their arsenal to not only take out the original site, but take out sites where people were going. This was what apparently, as it turns out, was behind all this. It was just really, really frightening. The main point here is we were dealing with a complete disconnect from reality. The civil defense programs were disconnected from the reality of what we'd see in an all-out nuclear war. So organizations like Physicians for Social Responsibility around 1979 started saying this a lot publicly. They would do a bombing run. They'd go to your city and they'd say, here's a map of your city, here's what's going to happen if we get a nuclear hit. So no possibility of medical response to or meaningful preparedness for all-out nuclear war. So we had to prevent nuclear war if we expected to survive. This disconnect was never actually resolved. And what happened was, when we get into Chapter 2 of the nuclear threat era, which started back in 1945, Chapter 2 starts in 1991. When the Soviet Union broke up, we effectively lost that adversary as a potential attacker of the United States, for the most part. It's not completely gone. I'm going to come back to that. But from 1991 through the present time, emphasized by the attacks of 2001, the idea of an all-out nuclear war has diminished, and the idea of a single event act of nuclear terrorism is what we have instead. Although the scenario has changed very considerably, the fact is that we haven't changed our mental image of what a nuclear war means. I'm going to tell you what the implications of that are in just a second. So what is a nuclear terror threat? And there's 4 key ingredients to describing that. First thing is that the global nuclear weapons in the stockpiles that I showed you in those original maps happens to be not uniformly secure, and it's particularly not secure in the former Soviet Union, now in Russia. There are many, many sites where warheads are stored, and in fact, lots of sites where fissionable materials like highly enriched uranium and plutonium are absolutely not safe. They're available to be bought, stolen, whatever. They're acquirable, let me put it that way. From 1993 to 2006, the International Atomic Energy Agency documented 175 cases of nuclear theft, 18 of which involved highly enriched uranium or plutonium, the key ingredients to make a nuclear weapon. The global stockpile of highly enriched uranium is about 1,300 at the low end to about 2,100 metric tons. More than 100 megatons of this is stored in particularly insecure Russian facilities. How much of that do you think it would take to actually build a 10-kiloton bomb? Well, you need about 75 pounds of it. So what I'd like to show you is what it would take to hold 75 pounds of highly enriched uranium. This is not a product placement. It's just, in fact, if I was Coca-Cola, I'd be pretty distressed about this. But basically, this is it. This is what you would need to steal or buy out of that 100 metric ton stockpile that's relatively insecure to create the type of bomb that was used in Hiroshima. Now, you might want to look at plutonium as another fissionable material that you might use in a bomb. That you'd need 10 to 13 pounds of plutonium. Now, plutonium, 10 to 13 pounds, this is enough plutonium to create a Nagasaki-sized atomic weapon. Now, this situation already, I don't really like thinking about this, although somehow I got myself a job where I have to think about it. So the point is that we're very, very insecure in terms of developing this material. The second thing is, what about the know-how? And there's a lot of controversy about whether terror organizations have the know-how to actually make a nuclear weapon. Well, there's a lot of know-how out there. There's an unbelievable amount of know-how out there. There's detailed information
North Korea
on how
just
to assemble
proved they
a
know
nuclear
how to
weapon
do it
from parts. There's books about how to build a nuclear bomb. There are plans for how to create a terror farm where you could actually manufacture and develop all the components and assemble it. All of this information is relatively available. If you have an undergraduate degree in physics, I would suggest, although I don't, so maybe it's not even true, but something close to that would allow you, with the information that's currently available, to actually build a nuclear weapon. The third element of the nuclear terror threat is that who would actually do such a thing? Well, what we're seeing now is a level of terrorism that involves individuals who are highly organized. They are very dedicated and committed. They are stateless. Somebody once said, Al-Qaeda does not have a return address. So if they attacked us with a nuclear weapon, what's the response?
Stop that point right here. See what he's doing? He's making the point that, oh, it's stateless and you can't retaliate. So if ISIS gets you with a bomb, you don't know who to attack back. You see this? See this? So what is his point? His point is, that's why we need to have the central government get all these nuclear weapons. We have to disarm everybody, even though ISIS never will disarm itself, even though North Korea will never disarm itself. But there's a problem. These people are always making this, these archangels always making this argument. In Cheonilguk, guess what? Everything is local. So you have local jurisprudence, so local criminal organizations, you get whiff of that, peace militias after that person. And they have the power and force to shut that down right away. That's not only happening in one or two places. Anywhere this will be happening, anywhere this is happening, in Cheonilguk, you will have the local area who also has contacts in other local areas that can help and support if they have to. Or they'll have support with other bomb squads, other this or that experts in that field. They call them in, or whatever, with that local situation that's happening. So let's say they're doing it up in, what's that big camp? They got a whole jihadi camp up here in upstate New York someday. I'm not saying they're doing it there, but like nuclear there. But let's say in Cheonilguk, somebody was doing something like that. Okay, well, you have local jurisdiction, your local jurisprudence, and you would have peace militia there, and that would say they would trump the federal orders to give them protection. They would say, no, that's a dangerous threat. We may want to take that out. You see what I mean? So it's not like in every case they have to wage a war on them. They may bring lawsuits against them. They may demand investigation to their facilities. You know what I'm saying? They're obviously human beings, so they're going to do it step by step. But they're going to start clamping down on them wherever they are. So whether they're in Afghanistan, whatever, all those borders will be in Cheonilguk, all under the dominion of God's Constitution. It's the local people will be able to snuff those fools out. And none of those local people are centralized cops, centralized military. You see? So what would happen is in Cheonilguk over generations, you would start eradicating, if there was real dangerous criminals that were doing all those kind of things, and there's capital punishment, you would literally be eliminating the predator class over a generation. So the predator class will be eliminated every successive generation. More and more predators of the predator class will be eliminated. Especially if they're doing heinous crimes that require capital punishment. You see what I mean? So then not only would you have an infrastructure where people are operating by conscience and local governments, all that, you would have a situation literally where the predatory genetics are being wiped out. Do You see? And that is how, obviously, you don't deal with nuclear proliferation by centralizing government and giving power to the UN to tax everybody in the world for their new nuclear attacks they're going to do to help fund their activities, really to steal money from everybody. Meanwhile, they allow ISIS to get plutonium. They allow North Korea to get plutonium. They allow Iran to get plutonium. Obama gives them $500,000 in cash to trade for hostages, even though they said you never negotiate with terrorists. He still gave them, he negotiated with them, they gave them $500,000 to release hostages, and then he let them out of prison. You see those Al-Qaeda leaders? I showed you last year, remember that? Obama let out the top Al-Qaeda leaders that were held in Guantanamo Bay. He let them out. He let out the generals. They went right back to Al-Qaeda and now killing more people. I mean, you can't make this up. It's so crazy. It's so insane. Drives me bonkers seeing this every day. Okay? But still, I keep a level head, even though I rant sometimes. Okay? But look, always these government agents, always. How we deal with it is how we have to take away the weapons. You have to take away the weapons. If you take away the weapons, only the good guys will give the weapons away. Quote, the good guys. And then you have all those predator nations. You've been trying to take away all the nuclear arms from the UN for the last 50 years. And now guess who has tons of nuclear weapons? Exactly the tyrants that we were supposed to take them away from. You see this problem here? Always the archangel is always making this argument. Go ahead. Let's go to the New York blast.
Response. And their retaliation proof. Since there's no real retribution possible that would make any difference, since there are people willing to actually give up their lives,
so disarmament is the only way.
A lot of damage to us, it becomes apparent that
you will never be able to disarm the radical groups. Never. They will never give up their weapons. Never. Never.
Many times,
predators will not give up their weapons.
Americans, 2 million of whom should be children. And
they will never give it up. That's their road to power. If they give the weapons, they have no way to get power.
In the 1990s was a good example of homegrown terrorists.
And that's proof with the UN.
Their hands on a nuclear weapon.
Now we only have tyrants with nuclear bombs all over the place.
High-value U.S. targets are accessible, soft, and plentiful. This will be a talk for another day, but the level of preparedness that the United States has achieved since 9/11 of 2001 is unbelievably inadequate. What you saw after Katrina is a very good indicator of how little prepared the United States.
You see what he admits it. He admits it. The U.S. is the federal government, which they tell you to believe in and trust in as God, and it will protect you in case of emergency. He's a government employee. He's forced to admit that they're underprepared. Katrina was a total failure. Look at what happened to Harvey. It's the normal citizens, hunters and fishermen who had boats, and they know how to hunt, they know how to drive a boat, they have bass fishing boats, going around catching people from their houses. Normal citizens. The FEMA is way out there on the water lines. Okay, yes, FEMA does a little bit of stuff, but they're totally underprepared. The citizens had to pitch in. You saw how we showed the pictures on the King's Report. With all the hunters and fishermen, the normal citizens coming out, driving their boats, trying to pick people up. They're not FEMA agents. That's normal citizens saving the day, not stupid centralized government. Always the archangel lied to you. Go ahead, play the video.
Is for any kind of major attack. 7 million shipped cargo containers come into the United States every year. 5 to 7% only are inspected. 5 to 7%. This is Alexander Lebed, who was a general that worked with Yeltsin, who talked about and presented to Congress this idea that the Russians had developed these suitcase bombs. They were very low yield, 0.1 to 1 kiloton. Hiroshima was around 13 kilotons, but enough to do an unbelievable amount of damage. And Lebed came to the United States and told us that many, more than 80 of the suitcase bombs were actually not accountable. And they look like this. They're basically very simple arrangements. You put the elements into a suitcase, it becomes very portable.
Members of the radical left were caught last 2 weeks ago trying to blow up statues in Houston, folks. They were trying to make bombs. The radical left is now weaponizing. They're trying to make bombs now.
Nuclear warheads that exist. This is the size of the little boy bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima. It was 9.8 feet long, weighed 8,800 pounds. You go down to your local rent-a-truck, and for $50 or so, you rent a truck that's got the right capacity, and you take your bomb, you put it in the truck, and you're ready to go. It could happen, but what it would mean and who would survive? You can't get an exact number for that kind of probability, but what I'm trying to say is that we have all the elements of that happening. Anybody who dismisses the thought of a nuclear weapon being used by a terrorist is kidding themselves. I think there's a lot of people in the intelligence community, a lot of people who deal with this work in general, think it's almost inevitable unless we do certain things to really
That's the problem with the deep state.
Diffuse the risk, like better.
Stop that. That's the problem with the deep state. You have all these passive-aggressive predators in there. When you meet them, they're just like these white guys with nice suits and like, hey, how you doing? Oh, yeah, it's like, oh, I hate Trump. They're all passive-aggressive predators. They're all beta male predators. They want to prey on people and they want an easy way to do it. So they choose to go into government to get power and girls. It's ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. And he's talking about deep state. The reality, let's jump to the section. Go ahead, jump a little forward. Jump to the section where there's let's get the reality of what this kind of bomb would do to New York City so that we have some context. Go ahead, jump a little bit ahead.
And an extraordinary amount of energy in the form of heat, acute radiation, and blast effects. An enormous hurricane-like wind and destruction of buildings almost totally within this yellow circle here. And what I'm going to focus on as I come to the conclusion here is that what happens to you if you're in here? Well, if we're talking about the old days of an all-out nuclear attack, you up here are as dead as the people here. So it was a moot point. My point now, though, is that there's a lot that we could do for you who are in here if you've survived the initial blast. You have, when the blast goes off, and by the way, if it ever comes up, don't look at it.
Don't be in Manhattan.
If you look at it, you're going to be blind either temporarily or permanently. So if there's any way that you can avoid, like avert your eyes, that would be a good thing. If you find yourself alive, but you're in the vicinity of a nuclear weapon, you have, that's gone off, you have 10 to 20 minutes, depending on the size and exactly where it went off, to get out of the way before a lethal amount of radiation comes straight down from the mushroom cloud that goes up. In that 10 to 15 minutes, all you have to do, and I mean this seriously, is go about a mile away from the blast. And what happens is, I'm going to show you now some fallout plumes. Within 20 minutes, it comes straight down. Within 24 hours, lethal radiation is going out with prevailing winds, and it's mostly in this particular direction. It's going northeast. And if you're in this vicinity, you've got to get away. So you're feeling the wind, and there's tremendous wind now that you're going to be feeling, and you want to go perpendicular to the wind or downwind if you are, in fact, able to see where the blast was in front of you. You've got to get out of there. If you don't get out of there, you're going to be exposed to lethal radiation in very short order. If you can't get out of there, we want you to go into a shelter and stay there. Now, in a shelter in an urban area means you have to be either in a basement as deep as possible, or you have to be on a floor, on a high floor, if it's a ground burst explosion, which it would be, higher than the 9th floor. So you have to be 10th floor or higher, or in the basement. But basically, you got to get out of town as quickly as possible. And if you do that, you actually can survive a nuclear blast. Over the next few days to a week, there will be a radiation cloud, again, going with the wind and settling down for another 15 or 20 miles out, in this case, over Long Island. And if you're in the direct fallout zone here, you really have to either be sheltered or you have to get out of there. And that's clear. But if you are sheltered, you can actually survive. The difference between knowing information of what you're going to do personally and not knowing information can save your life. And it can mean the difference between 150 to 200,000 fatalities from something like this and 500,000 to 700,000 fatalities. So response planning in the 21st century is both possible and is essential. But in 2008, there was in one single American city that has done effective plans to deal with a nuclear detonation
Stop.
disaster.
Also, what's the best time to attack America? When there is a coup d'etat occurring. When the deep state is literally trying to kill the president and to destroy a duly elected president and overturn all the system of America, which is happening now. Meanwhile, we have a threat of North Korea, etc. Meanwhile, we have a threat of Iran in the Middle East. Meanwhile, we have the threat of civil war and a coup d'etat that is happening right now in these United States of America. And don't forget, the economic collapse is coming. Bad compounding recipe, folks. Very, very bad compounding recipe. Now, I'm gonna save you the stupid conclusion that he has, which is, oh, you have to trust the UN, and we have to have non-proliferation of nuclear weapons, which means give more nuclear weapons to Kim Jong-un. That's what it means. That's what it means. Okay, turn that up. Okay, turn it on. Turn the lights on. There you go. Okay, kids, they're on. All right, folks. So, there's some context. That would be like a suitcase bomb that went off. That's a smaller than Nagasaki bomb that he's talking about. Now, it's less likely, obviously, that's going to happen in the United States, unless there's a World War III. But again, I'm not only talking to you who are here, I'm talking to people across the world who are watching right now. And some of them are in a very dangerous zone right now. Okay? Some of our brothers and sisters, right now, lives are in grave danger. So we know 923 is coming up. We know, remember, what does the scripture say? In the 923 Revelation, there's going to be the serpent, Satan's forces, will try to destroy the woman and, of course, the child and the saints, the faithful. There will be a spiritual war. And of course, they're trying to start physical wars too. There's going to be massive, massive battles coming up ahead. Not only our faith is going to be tested, not only our spirit is going to be tested, not only our will is going to be tested, but our preparedness will be tested too. He who has eyes to see, see! Who has ears to hear, hear! Stop taking things for granted. Stop thinking somebody's going to do it for you. You must be responsible and be a safety boat for others who are around you. Not be part of the hordes and masses that are trying to steal from other people once the shmita hit the fan. Then you're likely to get shot because we can't see through 50, 100 people trying to get something. I pray the Holy Ghost is convicting you or anybody watching online or across the world. Stop playing around. This is a serious time. They all laughed at us. They all thought said we're crazy when we told Han Mother that if she does this, there will be destruction. Not only to her and family fraud, but to, of course, Korea and the rest of the world. Of course, Korea will be hit harder. She laughed it off, said I was crazy. The true mother is in Korea. How dare you say anything else? We are in perfect success and victory. What a deluded woman. Traitorous. And arrogant and narcissistic and filled with hubris before God. And you've seen what happened. Look at Korea. Anybody in Korea never even imagined that. You were also part of the ones that were cursing the second king at that time. Those Koreans. Now your nation is flipped over to communist. No possibility of getting sovereignty. No possibility of bringing Chinese culture. And you are on the verge of nuclear holocaust. Now, I may be talking to you, but you understand I'm talking to Koreans too, okay? These are serious times, folks. Obviously, we'll be on our knees and praying to God, asking Him to give us guidance. The tribulation is here. We cannot stop it, but He can ask for guidance. We survive not for the sake of you or your children. There's no guarantee any one of you survive. You may be dead all. We may be all dead after this. They're going to start hunting us. They're going to start trying to behead people who are Christian. They're going to start going after us, censoring everything, trying to force you to go into the cities. Allow you not to buy and sell on the internet. You don't think all that's coming if there's wars that break out? How easy they can shut down your life because it's so tied up and addicted to the internet. Don't know how to hunt. Don't know how to secure food. Have not prepared anything. Completely addicted to the Amazon that will get you things in 2 days. Hey, what if that all breaks down? You can't get nothing and the supermarkets are empty. Oh, you're screwed now. Now you're big trouble. Now you say, oh, shish kebab. And how many times I got to tell you, I've been telling you about this last 3 years. We are in serious times. Serious times. We have to survive through this period, not for the sake of survival. Because even if we die, we're going to be with Christ in heaven. Amen. But it's not for that. It's so that the kingdom which is coming has to be inherited. Do you understand? It has to be inherited. It has to be inherited by the sons and daughters of God who stood with the God's kingship when it was the hardest thing to do. And even though your children cursed you and mocked you and laughed at you and said you were crazy, now they're the ones who appear and have been exposed as being the stupid crazies. They've been exposed for being in a cult. They've been exposed for believing what the stupid government teachers told them. They've been exposed for being brainwashed media sluts, making fun of people who actually know the situation was going on and who was actually trying to activate East Asia to step into sovereignty Chinese culture. That's how brain dead, stupid young people are. And are never told they're stupid and brain dead. Obviously, the people here were much more prepared. But think about it. Think about how your mind wants to shut off when we talk about serious things. Think about how it wants to shut off your cognitive dissonance still. You're probably 10 times more awake than a normal person, but still your mind wants to shut off when we talk about serious things. You must be responsible for that. You have to fight that demon that's trying to make you not think about this kind of thing. Nobody can do it for you. Don't expect other people to do it for you. You will just be a burden to them. You're supposed to be a gift and a blessing to others, not a burden. Don't expect people are just going to take care of you when they have 500 people trying to hoard stuff from them. They're not going to even see you in the crowd. And I'm not speaking to only you here, even though you feel that I'm doing that because you're right in front of me. We're speaking to a whole audience here, okay? Obviously, people who here are way more prepared than most people, but still, many of you are underprepared. And of course, we can't be prepared perfectly for every scenario, but we can be more prepared. I mean, probably most people here, you're probably at least 10 times more prepared than a normal person. At least you have consciousness and you're awake. You actually know the sign of the times that you're living in. instead of these brain-dead lunatics who know nothing. They don't know what planet they're on. They think they're right on a Klingon planet, trying to be some stupid dragon, by having surgery. And these people are crazy, saying that I identify as a dragon. Now, you see these people? I'm serious. Oh, you see, this is a problem of being informed. See, you look crazy when you're informed. There's an actual person. He's tattooed his whole body. He's tattooed reptilian skin. He's got surgery on his ears, cut them off, because he believes he's a dragon. See, this is the insanity that people are in. Meanwhile, they're trying to put transgender sexual agenda, saying you can change your gender on how you feel each day. They're trying to make people delusional and mentally ill, because if you're delusional and mentally ill, you cannot prepare, you cannot see any danger coming towards your way, and you're easy to control. And you can be blown up and say, oh, look at that, that's why, look at all those poor people blown up. We have to centralize more power to the federal government. Always the same thing. But people are so stupid and brain dead and totally brainwashed by media, they don't even know how to read a book now. They don't even know what a book is. They're reading everything on a stupid tablet. What happens when there's no more tablet energy? What happens if there's no more electric energy? Now you can't play your little games. Now you can't contact people. Your phone is off. All your contact lists have disappeared. Think about it. You probably don't even know your best friend's phone number. Because all you got is their name. You just put their name, and boom, it goes right to the... Think about it. You probably can't even remember your best friend, 3, 4 people on your phone contact list where you actually know their actual number. Am I right or am I wrong? See how much of a slave you are to technology? Technology is great, but when it's used for control, it can be very mean. You can get people to do a lot of things if you strip them of their addiction and then say, oh, if you do that, I give it to you. Always centralized power, always archangels. Do that! That is the nature of the archangel. So, we're talking about a prepared kingdom. A kingdom that is prepared. We have to think about these things even though they're uncomfortable. Even though you don't want to think about any of cognitive dissonance. Screw your emotions. It's about reality. It's about what we are actually facing, what times we are in. We're not in an easy, simple time. It's not going to get better. I told you millions of times. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And you see it happening. It's getting worse, not better. Even though all of you mocked me and laughed at me. Not all. You know what I mean. I'm speaking generally here. Okay. In America, I've always got to qualify everything I say. In Korea, kind of everybody understands, sometimes when I speak, I say, you all doesn't mean you all. But in America, I always got to qualify. All right, listen, enough of this government employee. Enough of that guy. Let's be aware of the times we're in, folks. We are now in September. It's not a playtime. Seriously, not playtime. You see the stocks tanking now. Okay? You see the economy is getting hurt more and more. As it progresses, it's going to get worse. How many years we've been telling you about what real assets are? How many years we've been trying to tell you about royal culture? How many years we've been trying to tell you about royal assets? How many years we've been telling you about paper money? How many years we've been telling you about all that kind of stuff? Preparedness, wilderness, survival, all that kind of stuff. How many years? Now, I'm not saying this so you feel bad about yourself. No, forget that. Forget those emotions. You can just start one step at a time, and you can start where you can begin. Change your mindset. Know the time you're living in. Stop being lulled back into a sense of security by your iPad and computer. Your little comfort zone. Oh, I feel stressed. Let me go comfort zone of the iPad and iPhone. How pathetic are you? Don't be addicted like that. I was talking to Queen the other day. I said, that's why Chinigo culture, people are free. That's why we love going outdoors, because outdoors, no matter where you are, you're not tied to one place. You can always be in the presence of God. Like we're talking about the Han Mother, right? Because she's so tied to that $300 million palace. In a nuclear war, that's going to go up in vaporized flame. So tied to a physical location. But see, those in Chinigo culture, our father's tradition and culture, we love the outdoors. We love nature. Anywhere you put us, anywhere, we'll be at home. We'll be in our palace. Anywhere. Just not underwater permanently, okay, unless we develop it. We have freedom because we know we're not confounded and bound to the urban cycle and the internet ghetto cycle. We have something greater than those things that transcend those things. We have real community. We have honorable people. We have honest people. We have nature all around us to train us. We're not connected to a physical building or some Chanjangung Palace in Chongpyeong. Drop me out of a plane. We landed in Pennsylvania and built new civilization from nothing. You can drop us anywhere. That's the culture mindset. Okay? So be aware of this, folks. We're living in not a playtime. Not a playtime. And if you're Korean, don't call your parents and say, there's a bomb dropping tomorrow, bomb is dropping. Don't freak them out. They're already under tremendous stress over there. They already hear the Sunday sermons and they hear it. They're already listening to Sunday sermons. They're supposed to wait till Wednesday, but they hear it now. Then they got these translators translating it. But it's understandable because it's so stressful where they're living in now. And they're fighting the commies on a weekly basis. Please pray for them, folks. We have to pray that the people of God remain true. We're not trying to survive this just for survival's sake. We're trying to survive through this because God needs to do His will. It's not about us surviving, it's about God doing His will. And that's why you have to be prepared and responsible. Okay, Yasuas, come on up. In all of this, we have to give God always a praise that He give us light, He give us wisdom, that He stirs our spirit and convicts us with the Holy Spirit so we be stimulated to action and prepared to do His will, to be instruments of His peace for His kingdom that is coming. Do we have a Chunseongyong? Go ahead, start playing that music while we read the Chunseongyong together. Let's read together Chunseongyong. I know very well the feeling of taking risks on the front line, like the time David stood in front of Goliath. It is a feeling of courage and confidence. If I fight 100 wars, I can win 100 wars because God is protecting me. I have actually become this kind of person because I thought all along, if you hit me, it is you rather than I who will be shattered. Just as God raised me like this, I have the responsibility to raise you this way. Let's all rise and give all the glory to our Father. Amen.
For All I can do is follow your way. When on the path I stumble and fall, turning you give the courage I need. Though the path is narrow and steep, cruel thorns leave a trail of blood. Still I pledge I will follow the way, follow as far as my Father will lead.
From a sleep so deep and dark, gladly I wake to knowing your will. Though death may stab me time and again, nothing can change a loyal heart. This I pledge, my life is for you. For your will I rush forward to die. This I pledge till the struggle is done, till we proclaim the victorious day. This I pledge, my life is for you. For your will I rush forward to die. This I pledge till the struggle is done, till we proclaim the victorious day. Who am I that the Lord of all the earth would care to know my name, would care to feel my hurt? Who am I that the bright and morning star would choose to light the way for my ever-wandering heart? Not because of who I am, but because of what you've done. Not because of what I've done, but because of who you are. I am a flower quickly fading, here today and gone tomorrow. A wave tossed in the ocean, vapor in the wind. Still you hear me when I'm calling. Lord, you catch me when I'm falling, and you told me who I am. I am yours. Who am I that the eyes that see my sin would look on me with love and watch me rise again? Who am I that the voice that calmed the sea would call out through the rain and calm the storm in me? Not because of who I am, but because of what you've done. Not because of what I've done, but because of who you are. I am a flower quickly fading, here today and gone tomorrow. A wave tossed in the ocean, a vapor
you catch me when I'm falling, and you told me who I am. I am a flower quickly fading, here today and gone tomorrow. A wave tossed in the ocean, a vapor in the wind. Till you hear me when I'm calling, Lord, you catch me when I'm falling, and you told me who I am. I'm yours, I'm yours, I'm yours.
Let's remember as we hear about these trying times to always give praise to God, always and forever. Give him the praise.
The moon and stars, they wept. The morning sun was dead. The Savior of the world was fallen. His body on the cross, his blood poured out for us. The weight of every curse upon him. One final breath he gave as heaven looked away. The Son of God was laid in darkness. A battle in the grave, the war on death was waged. The power of hell forever broken. The ground began to shake, the stone was rolled away. His perfect love could not be overcome. Now death, where is your sting? Our resurrected King has rendered you defeated. Forever he is glorified. Forever he is lifted high. Forever he is risen. He is alive. He is alive. The ground began to shake, the stone was rolled away. His perfect love could not be overcome. Now death, where is your sting? Our resurrected King has rendered you defeated. Forever he is glorified. Forever he is lifted high. Forever he is risen. He is alive. He is alive. We sing hallelujah. We sing hallelujah. We sing hallelujah. The Lamb has overcome. We sing hallelujah. We sing hallelujah. We sing hallelujah.
tribulations, God is always there with us and He's always there to comfort us. Thank you, Lord, for letting us be here today so that we can worship you and praise your holy name.
For this next song, I'm reminded about something Hyungjin said at camp. It doesn't matter how you pray, just as long as you have that sincerity. So even if you're just saying Jesus' name, singing Hosanna, just pray with sincerity. Pray that we can get through these trying times.
I see the King of Glory coming on the clouds with fire. The whole earth shakes. The whole earth shakes. I see His love and mercy washing over all our sin. The people sing. The people sing. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. I see a generation rising up to take their place with selfless faith, with selfless faith. I see a near revival stirring as we pray and seek. We're on our knees. We're on our knees. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Heal my heart and make it clean. Open up my eyes to the things unseen. Show me how to love like you have loved me. Break my heart for what breaks yours. Everything I am for your kingdom's cause. As I walk from earth into eternity. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna, Hosanna,
taken away. My pain is healed in His name. I believe. I believe. I'll raise a banner. Oh, 'cause my Lord has conquered the grave. My Redeemer lives. My Redeemer lives. My Redeemer lives. My Redeemer lives. I know He rescued my soul. His blood has covered my sin. I believe. I believe. My shame He's taken away. My pain is healed in His name. I believe. I believe. I'll raise a banner. Oh, 'cause my Lord has conquered the grave. My Redeemer lives. My Redeemer lives. My Redeemer lives. My Redeemer lives. My burdens and I'll rise with you. I'm dancing on this mountaintop to see your kingdom come. My Redeemer lives. 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 I know He rescued my soul. His blood has covered my sin. I believe. I believe. My shame is taken away. My pain is healed in His name. I believe. I believe. I'll raise a banner. Oh, 'cause my Lord has conquered the grave. My Redeemer lives. 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 Oh yes, He lives. My Redeemer lives.
하나님 왕권 수립 승리 억만세. 만왕 전진 참음 3대 왕권 억만세. 천일국 창건 억만세. 아주. Amen and 아주. Hug your neighbor, welcome them. Don't forget what we talked about today.
stop.